sick. Do you want to eat salami, Zoe? Actually, no. Says you can have like a little bit. You wanna snuggle a little before I stream? You don't wanna? Okay, cool. Okay, but like, I love you though, so like, do you wanna come here and like snuggle a little before like I stream? I just know as soon as I unmute my mic, you're just gonna be all like standing on the table wanting attention. Oh, oh shit. What do you want to have for dinner tonight? I mean, I'm not asking you what you want for dinner. It's more like, what should I have for dinner tonight? Do you think ramen sounds good? No? Come here. No, she doesn't want me. She doesn't want me. Why? Huh? Wait, Hunter, I'm not fucking muted? Oh. Hi. Hi, chat. I was just talking to myself, you know. I wasn't talking to Nova's cat. Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning. I wasn't talking to Nova's cat. I was just having a very normal conversation with myself. Because I'm not insane, right guys? Forgot. This is I did not press mute. Oops. But hi guys, good morning, and yeah, so today we're just having a chill stream where we react to Warhammer. And I know you guys are probably thinking like, what? That's random, what fucking Warhammer? Now hear me out. Have you guys seen the Warhammer game? That came out like, I don't know, I wanna say like 3 months ago. Or maybe 4 months ago. Okay? That shit looks cool. That's it. That shit looks cool. Yeah, I think it's called Space Marines too. It looks cool. I am interested and I would like to learn how to play that shit. Maybe. I mean, once it like, shut up, you did not. You did not. Also, why did you DM me to tell me that like I was talking to myself? Space Marine, you know what? You want to know something? The only thing that I remembered about like Space Marines before I watched like a random like mutual play Space Marines 2 in like a Discord call, and I was like, hey, this game looks pretty cool. I thought it was a bit, wasn't a bit. I was hungry and trying to decide what to eat. That was embarrassing. Wait, you guys even heard this me off Siri? Fuck. Okay, so anyways, we're just gonna where the heck did I go? Wait a second. Gamers, hold up. Not to scare you guys, but we lost a streamer. The heck? What? Hi? Hi? What the hell? Where the heck did I go? Okay. Wait. We might have to remake my ass because I've gone missing, guys. Scary. Yeah, for some reason I'm not showing up. I can't figure out why. Hold up, let me see. Where is my ass? Okay. Is it showing now? It's still not showing. Oh my god. Okay. So let me just, you know what? We'll go back to starting soon so I can figure this out. Hold on a second. Huh? It should be working. I don't know why it's not working. This is odd and bizarre and... Hey, is this technically a... Did you find your butt yet? No. Not at all. My ass is back, let's go! There's two of me! I'm gonna delete the not sexy one. Yeah, this one, okay. Okay, we're back! We're back, baby! And we're here to watch... We're here to watch, let's see. Every single Warhammer 40k, WH 40k faction explained part 1. There's a part 2. I don't know if there's a part 3, but we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch this shit. Are you guys ready? Nerd, shut up. Are you guys ready? Let's fucking... Okay, hold up. Does it look right? Does it look right? Hi. Welcome in. Does it look right, guys?
As someone who doesn't necessarily serve the Omnissiah, but someone who can appreciate them, you will not be getting my legs today, as I'll be replacing them with various things depending on which faction we are currently talking about to add a little bit more context and possible comedy to whatever the hell I am currently doing. So, hello everybody, my name is Bricky, and this is going to be a long video and a large project that has been going on for quite some time. This is, I need two hands for this. This is every single Warhammer 40k race in kind of a nutshell, explained, a little bit of explanation, a little bit of lore, a little bit of talking about the tabletop, mostly lore, what they're all about, and also a little bit of background for those of you who just have no clue what Warhammer 40,000 is.
Yeah,
you see, Warhammer
explain it to me, like I have never heard of this.
Hear plenty of, but don't know a whole lot.
This video is 51 minutes long.
Dudes in big power armor with chainsaw swords, and they got these big old green orcs, and there's some bugs over there, and everyone calls
what the hell are the bugs?
And then there's these spiky bitches over here, and I don't get it. I don't understand. Where do I start? Well, this video is particularly for you, or for those of you who have a little bit of knowledge, but you're kind of curious about each of the different races and factions in Warhammer. So overall, the Warhammer universe is vast when it comes to
but like,
lore
what are the bugs
though?
exactly? Like, why are they fighting
different with the things that they believe in? And some are human, some are transhuman, like where they all have all these crazy ass electronics on them. You've got aliens, and you've got the chaos factions, and there's so much to entail that I decided to embark on this project to tell you.
So from what I understand, there's like bugs, that like constantly like reproduce. So those need to be like destroyed, but at the same time they can't stop destroying it because it just keeps fucking reproducing. And then there's like the space marines, and then there's like the chaos somethings, and then there's like other aliens. I don't get it.
What each and every single one of them is about, and what the Warhammer
I've never
universe
played
is about
StarCraft.
as well. To give at least a little bit of an intro to this extremely bloated but very, very enjoyable
Chaos
world
Space
that
Marines.
I and many others partake in. So I will be explaining every single faction in the Warhammer 40K universe, at least all the factions you can play as, and some smaller factions here and there. I will
there's
not be discussing
wolves? Let's go.
everything in it because that is a little bit
Yeah,
much.
we're learning
And I'm not going to go too mega
Warhammer
deep into the lore.
40K lore.
I'm going to give you a pretty solid overview of each of the different factions and have you learn a little bit about them, and we'll discuss a little bit of the tabletop as well in case you were
saw a
curious
friend
about that.
watch
For
play
this
the
episode
game, so I was
entirely,
like
we are discussing
kind
the
of
Imperium
interested
of Man,
in playing it.
because
But I
that
also
takes
kind of
up
want to
a
learn about the
fat
lore because
chunk
like
of Warhammer
there's so
lore.
much shit going on.
What is Warhammer 40,000?
Okay.
Well, the 40,000 starts off is the year 40,000, the 41st millennium. That's where it takes place, is in the year 40,000, 41,000 AD. You're already more knowledgeable. Let me read you a quote, first of many quotes in this video. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 years, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth.
Okay.
He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods.
guy friend?
Master of a million worlds by the might of his inexhaustible
If you
armies.
consider
He is a rotting
guy
carcass,
friend
writhing
being in
visibly
call with my
power from
guy
the dark
friend and
age of
his
technology.
girlfriend and
He
his
is the
other
carrion
guy
lord
friend,
of the Imperium,
my
for
guy
whom
friend.
1,000 souls are sacrificed every day so that he may never truly die. To be a man
You're
in
so
such
right.
times is to be amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales
Is
of
really
those
your friend
times.
friend?
Forget
It's
the
like my
power of
friend. It's
technology
a
and
call with my
science, for
friend
so
and
much
his
has been
girlfriend.
forgotten,
That's
never
like
to be
that's like
relearned.
really awkward
Forget
if I
the promise
if
of
I was all like
progress and
that's my guy
understanding,
friend, guys.
For in the grim, dark future, there is only
Glory to
war.
the Emperor.
There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter and the laughter of thirsting gods.
Okay.
Everything blows. And it blows fucking hard. Warhammer is
that's so
probably
edgy.
the most dark and depressing universes ever in fiction, or at least like top 3. Everything is so absurdly horrible,
That's so edgy.
destructive, or overpowered that it all kind of ends up canceling itself out. It's like Dota. War rages across the galaxy. Interstellar travel is only possible due to sacrificing 1,000 souls a day to a rotting carcass of a man who you believe to be your god.
What?
Demonic gods and just demons tear open the fabric of reality on a whim. Other Xenos or even other humans end up killing each other in untold billions across the galaxy. It is a time of unending war, slaughter, and a bloodbath amongst everybody. Planets are deemed unrecoverable and are completely destroyed on a whim. Everything sucks, but that's like the charm of it. See, everything in Warhammer is evil. But being evil is kind of fun. Like, humanity, in its own right, is a xenophobic, prejudice, and religious zealot group that kill each other just as much as they kill all of their enemies. And they're like mid to high tier evil on the evil scale of Warhammer. No matter who you are, everyone is some flavor, some color of evil. Whoever you pick, you are going to be the bad guy.
Wolves?
But that's the fun of it. Because being the bad guy is badass. Villains are cool. They look cool, they got cool outfits, they got cool weapons, they got cool armies. Villains are cool, man.
I think I get the male appeal now. Honestly, I think I get the male appeal.
That's what makes this so charming, is that everyone can be the bad guy. So let's start off talking about the main bad guy, quote unquote, the Imperium of Man.
His hair, whack. His gear, whack.
The Imperium of Man is the main empire of the human race. All of humanity is under this one flag called the Imperium. And about 10,000 years ago, there was a man. He was the Emperor of mankind, a 10-foot tall psychic demigod who led humanity across the stars to colonize tons and tons of worlds, create superhuman soldiers, and really bring humanity into a new age. This man, the Emperor of Mankind, was a psyker. And a psyker is like a magician of sorts. In the world of 40K, there is the warp, the immaterium, kind of like hell, but sort of like a purgatory dimension of hell. And a psyker is someone who can take that power and manifest it through their mind to use it to do stuff, like witchcraft stuff, magician stuff, spells, and lots of other things, but we don't want to get too into that. The Emperor, big boy psyker. Top tier, A+, maybe even S. Now the Emperor created a bunch of sons. Yes, created a bunch of sons known as the Primarchs. He created 18 Primarchs to have them lead all of the different legions of humanity to the different stars
why they look
and
kind of
plans
freaky.
to help colonize and bring it out. These Primarchs are basically like little versions of the Emperor. Not all of them are psychers, but a lot of them are very, very powerful, and they lead his special Space Marine legions. Then this big clusterfuck happened called the Horus Heresy, where the Emperor's favorite son, the Primarch, Horus, ended up joining Chaos and leading 9 of the 18, half
I mean, they kind of look evil
to Earth
in these
to
pictures,
fight down
so
the Emperor himself. Now, if you want to know what Chaos is, remember what I mentioned earlier, the warp, that immaterium, the hellish place? In there relies the 4 Chaos gods. Imagine like Satan and 3 other Satans. The warp being kind of evil, those Chaos gods, that's the reason. And so
but is
those
that one
Chaos gods manipulated Horus, and then Horus, that's the reason.
That one in the corner. The woman one. Waifu?
And so those Chaos gods manipulated Horus, and then Horus helped manipulate all 8 other Primarchs to lead this giant coup directly on the Emperor on Earth. And they fucked up shit. After this huge civil war, Horus died, but not before wounding the Emperor. And right at the end of his life, they put the Emperor on this large golden throne on Earth, in which he is now alive, just barely, but slowly rotting away, powering something called the Astronomicon.
They put his ass on life support?
Stays alive, and has fed 1,000 people a day. The Astronomicon is like the North Star. If you want to do interstellar travel in 40K, you need to pass through that demonic warp I mentioned earlier. But how do you know where you're going? Well, the Emperor is there putting a nice little navigator right there. He helps navigate you to know where you're going. If you want to go from Earth to some crazy solar system across the way, you need to go through that warp, and then you need to know where you're going, go through there, and pop your way out. It's like doing nether travel in Minecraft, so you can shorten the distance between going to areas. So long as the Emperor is alive and being fed 1,000 people a day to stay alive, you can do that. The moment he dies,
system,
interstellar travel's gone for all of humanity. You're so boned. Now, since the Horus Heresy 10,000 years ago, the Imperium has fallen from grace substantially.
Well,
all technology has started to dwindle and die. There is now giant fundamental religious extremists that now believe the Emperor of Mankind was a deity, a true living god, which is probably the last thing the Emperor would have wanted to be remembered for. So now you have this thing called the Ecclesiarchy, which is this giant church entirely devoted to spreading the good word of the Emperor. He is now the Holy Emperor God, the God Emperor of mankind. And all of the Imperium has taken up worshiping him to the fullest extent and killing anything that isn't humanity in his name. The Imperium has this futuristic gothic tone to it and a hefty religious zealotry to them. If you think anything against—
So like one of the things that like really confused me about like Warhammer, right, is some things look so futuristic, some things look so like old. And it's like, are these the same timeline or are these like different fucking timelines?
Against the Emperor, that's heresy and you deserve to die. That is called being a heretic. Heretics die in 40K. There is no such thing as freedom of religion. There is no such thing as freedom of speech,
that
so
looks
long
scary.
as you are against the Emperor. There is no such thing as any kind of tolerance. Everyone is a religious zealot. Some more than others, but no matter what, you're preaching that good word. So right now, everyone in humanity is trying to expand their empire across the stars. If you are a heretic, someone who doesn't believe in the Emperor, you are deserving of death. If you believe in the Chaos Gods, you are also a heretic and you deserve death. If you are an alien race of any kind, you are a filthy Xenos and you deserve death as well. So long as the murder continues and humanity expands, the Imperium
basically
of Man
everyone
is
dies?
very, very happy. However, the largest fighting force of this Imperium is my personal favorite faction, and the first faction we will discuss, the Astra Militarum, or also known as the Imperial Guard.
Okay. This is it. Now this isn't the blue.
The Imperial Guard is the main fighting
Space
force
Marines, right?
of the Imperium.
That's
and in
different.
a world of horrifying creatures, galactic monstrosities, the literal demons themselves breaking through the fabric of time to kill you, the Imperial Guard are untold billions of regular men and women wearing modern day like flak armor with a laser rifle. This is the humble las gun, the main weapon of the Imperial Guard. It fires superheated plasma lasers at an extremely fast fire rate. It is reliable,
so they're just
never jams. It can blow off limbs, giant holes in concrete. It is overall an extremely devastating weapon in modern day. It is one of the weakest in the 40K universe. Yeah, a laser rifle that never jams, it can blow off limbs, one of the weakest weapons. That's the world we're in right now. But who cares? Because the Imperial Guard has, in each battle, 500,000 of these men and women. 30,000 large armored tanks, 10,000 artillery batteries. The Imperial Guard wins through sheer numbers and firepower. They kind of have this World War I, World War II style aesthetic with legions of guardsmen as well as high company commanders and generals on the field along with them, and multiple kinds of troops. A normal Imperial Guard battle starts off with artillery, long lines of artillery, cracking the crust of the planet underneath
what is that?
feet.
Like scalding.
And as this barrage continues, hundreds of thousands of guardsmen, a sea of guardsmen surges forward, firing and charging at everything possible while the planet rumbles as tanks roll up behind them. Gunships block out the sun and tanks block out the dirt with the steps and hoof prints of millions of guardsmen. It is through numbers and sheer sundering firepower. They are the first and last line of defense for the Imperium and make up a huge bulk of the battles. The Imperial Guard is also made up of tons of different kinds of regiments. The Catachin Jungle Fighters live in a death world that's more hospitable than almost any firefight they'll ever get into. So they just have this steroid-looking, giant knife, Rambo Predator-looking sons of bitches where nothing is anywhere.
In the same universe where there are like where there's magic and like people in like big fucking like spacesuits, there's also fucking shirtless Rambos running around. But why?
Near as scary
How
as
do
a
you like
simple night
compete?
on their home planet. You have the Valhallan winter soldiers who haven't felt their toes in 300 years. The Mordian Iron Guard, who are more interested in making their shoes shine than actually fighting a battle. And then, of course, the big one, the Cadians from Cadia. The biggest export of guardsmen in the entirety of the Imperium. You will fire your first gun at 5. You will disassemble and reassemble it at 10. You will have pounding artillery drills day in and day out at 15. And you'll fight your first Swarm Lord at 16.
And if you mention that? No.
Out at 15, and you'll fight.
If I were a soldier, you told me to fight that thing, I'd be like, "Fuck you."
Your first I'm going to bed. At 16. And if you mention Cadia, you will burst into an unrelenting amount of tears and sadness, like I do daily. To quote I have at my command an entire battle group of the Imperial Guard. 50 regiments, including specialized drop troops, stealthers, mechanized formations, armored companies, combat engineers, and mobile artillery. Over half a million fighting men and 30,000 tanks and artillery pieces are mine to command.
Heretic speak.
Emperor, show mercy to the fool that stands against me, for I shall not. The Imperial Guard are my personal favorite faction in 40k. They're the army I collect the most, the ones I enjoy playing the most, and the one I enjoy in the lore sense a lot.
That's so edgy. Oh my god.
A regular man with a laser rifle being told to charge.
Damn gamers, how do you not cut yourself on all of this edge?
Doing so for his god emperor. It's just poetic. They actually represent the main Imperial Guard tactics pretty well. Large amounts of artillery that doesn't require a line of sight, lots of tanks, tons of infantry, drop troops, and gunships.
I feel like I understand
how
how romantic this would be for a guy.
And they don't hit a lot. They have a bit of a bad aim, but you don't really care because you're just drowning them in shots. However, if you want more accurate fire and specialization, we can move on to talk about Space Marines.
Space Marines?
The Angels of Death are up next. Space Marines are genetically engineered super soldiers and superhumans. They're given extra organs, their skin tissue is toughened, their bones are stronger, they're taller than the average person. They're pretty massive people, and these are the specialized super soldiers that carry out a lot of the more specific tasks for the Imperium. And there's tons of legions of them. In fact, there's one per Primarch. Each Primarch, the Emperor's son, as I mentioned before, oversees their legion.
I know the blue one from the game. Like, I know the blue ones, right? But like, I don't know the rest.
On the genes of said Primarch. It's something called a gene seed. That's what brings them up to this like superhuman level. As stated, each Primarch has their own legion. Robot Girly Man has the Ultramarines, Jagatai Khan has the White Scars, Rogel Dorn has the Imperial Fists, Corvus Corax has the Raven Guard.
Oh my god.
There's a whole bunch of other side
Not the
sections
Wolverine
that are
ass
also extremely interesting. And
this is peak male fantasy.
This
is basically like what is that game that everyone played, but then because they decided to ban it, they decided to make it like Sony exclusive or something, the population dwindled. Everyone was all like, you know, for democracy. You know what game I'm talking about, right? This is so like that, but with lore. Yeah, Helldivers. This is like peak male fantasy. You're going in a war, but you're not actually going in a war.
Which we'll discuss in a bit.
I get it now.
I don't have a whole lot to say
understand.
About Space Marines. They're superhumanly fast. In fact, it's been said that nothing that large should move that quick.
I understand now.
At blazing fast speeds. Their reflexes are faster. Their skin is tougher. They are overall just extremely powerful soldiers. In fact, where they differ comes down to which Space Marine Legion we're talking about. For instance, the Ultramarines done by Robot Gilliman are the main blue boys. Strong in almost every way, the jack of all trades kind of group that are a little bit too strong, and that's a lore problem, but
are they too strong?
The White Scars by Jagatai Khan are all about speed freaks, go fast. We're talking attack bikes, we're talking land speeders, you want to go in quick, you want to hit them.
Is this the same thing but Mad Max?
You want them to be swarming around like buzzflies, buzzsaws, with the speed of buzzsaws.
This is Space Marines but Mad Max.
Pale King. Salamanders love fire. Fire in the forge, fire in battle. Flamers, melta-guns, multi-meltas. Just so long as something can be burning,
is that game?
That's big. And they're also actually some of the nicest of the Space Marines. A lot of Space Marines have this kind of like holier-than-thou thing because of their genetic strength. However, the Salamanders tend to put human lives above the lives of themselves, which is actually rather rare. They're also all black, but not like just regular black, like 2 a.m. line at a White Castle black. Like they have a charcoal, dark, ashy exterior and blazing red eyes. Apparently something about living on their home planet of Nocturne, which I don't know if that makes much sense, but who cares? This is like fantasy land anyway. Overall, Salamanders are actually one of my personal favorite legions because they're just really cool. They're fun to play as because of all their flamer weapons, and they have a nice, like, more heartwarming lore as opposed to being super evil like everyone else is. Oh my god, we're not even a quarter of the way through the Space Marine Legions. Imperial Fists believe in the power of the siege and defensive positions. Raven Guards, master of stealth and sabotage while having bird helmets.
Okay. I have a genuine question. How the fuck do you be stealthy when you've got that big old armor on you? How?
Iron Hands, masters of machines and vehicles, while being really goddamn good at being sold on eBay after one nerf. Space Wolves,
really?
Vikings, and wolves, tons of wolves, and axes, battle axes, fur everywhere. Space Wolves, angry, big teeth.
Like wolves.
Blood Angels, the
don't worry about it.
Make them want to drink blood and go crazy, called the Red Thirst. They have Cupid wings and stuff, which is a little bit strange, and they are all super gay for Sanguinius. Dark Angels are old school knights and inner circle theme and...
Okay.
Are you a heretic?
Me? No, never. Once in the blue moon, I know.
Death Watch, a fancy anti-Xenos group that
okay, that one looks cool.
Death Watch, and they look cool though, but no one plays them. I don't know about Death Watch. They're there though. Black Templars, for the people who, if you haven't prayed at least 3 times a day, you're gonna start praying out that airlock. And I'm sure there's some other chapters I may have missed as well, like Crimson Fist and stuff. But those are the main ones right here. Here, quote from the Emperor himself.
So are they like evil?
They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me. Like clay I shall mold them, and in the furnace of war I shall forge them. They shall be of iron will and steely sinew. In great armor I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons shall they be armed. They will be untouched by plague.
This is so guy-coded. I kind of love it.
They shall have such tactics, strategies, and machines that no foe will best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror. They are my defenders.
So guy-coded. I'm genuinely kind of like shook.
No fear. And on the tabletop, they fuck. Oh, they fuck hard. As of making this video, Space Marines are laughably strong. That might change at some point, but overall, Space Marines just have it's like a Swiss Army knife, a tool for anything you need, except it's a gold-plated Swiss Army knife. It is extremely
I kind of get like the
strong.
romance behind buying the miniatures. Honestly, I get the romance behind buying the miniatures. I get it. I wouldn't know where to put all of them, but I get the romance.
You are actually getting into the tabletop of Warhammer. Space Marines are a great start. Also, whatever gameplay style you have, whether you want to be sit back with long range and heavy weaponry, go fast and run in, or even just full melee, all of these options are totally there for you.
Okay.
Space Marines
Who do you think
badass.
is poorer?
Unfortunately, it's time we start
Warhammer 40K, Warhammer enjoyers, or Yu-Gi-Oh players?
Honda Civic.
So is it any wonder people are afraid
in terms of
technology?
The sunken cost?
The Adeptus Mechanicus.
Who do you think is poorer?
The Adeptus Mechanicus are a technophile cult on Mars. Now, these people are a little bit weird.
Warhammer,
oh
my god.
Really believe in the Emperor of Mankind.
That's a rip.
And you might think, oh, whoa, Berkey, that sounds like some heresy. A little bit. They believe in the Emperor. They believe in his power, but they don't pray to him. They pray to something called the Omnissiah. And the Omnissiah is this kind of machine god that they believe permeates in all machines. And if you think, well, wait a minute, they believe in a different god as well? That sounds like super heresy.
Yeah,
well,
isn't that like heresy?
But they also make all your guns, and they make all your tanks, and they make everything that you have. So you can't really tell them to fuck off. Because you're not going to win nothing if you don't got stuff to shoot people with. See, their Omnissiah at least makes sense from their standpoint.
Okay.
They believe it to be a deity that permeates through all machines. Your Honda Civic, your standard bolt gun, your Dune Strider Walker, your giant mechs, your huge ships. The Omnissiah is present.
I love the Honda Civic.
All. And the only reason your stuff works is because the machine's spirit in it says it works. If you want your gun to work, your tank to run, you must pray to it. And I mean full stop. you need to start chanting in high Gothic. You need to burn incense. You need to sit on your knees and pray to that card.
Wait, what's wrong with the guy's
rub
mouth?
Oil on your robes, and you need to go ahomina, homina, 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 homina. Full stop. If you want your damn thing to work, if you want your gun to fire, you need to do that.
That
They
sounds
are
okay.
very bizarre, and they actually have a bit of a point because it's obviously working. And
I mean, I
if you look at
guess
them,
if it's working.
I don't know how that works. So they obviously know something about what they're doing.
Are they
The most
people or
notable member
machine?
Of the Adeptus Mechanicus is Magos, whatever. Belisarius Call. Look at this dude. Look at this dude.
Both. Oh, okay.
This is the group we're talking about. These are these weirdos. Here, the Omnissian Creed. The credo,
Okay.
Omnissiah. There is no truth in flesh, only betrayal. There is no strength in flesh, only weakness.
Is that why
There
they
is
turn
no
themselves into
constancy in
fucking
flesh,
like
only decay.
machines?
There is no certainty in flesh, but death. Flesh is weakness. Flesh is death. The Omnissiah is the god of the machines, and if you wish
okay,
to
and now I
behold-
think I
if you
kind of
wish
get
to
it. If that's
behold,
like their
if you
weird
wish to
like
give
mentality,
unto
I think
him,
I get it.
You must saw down
Okay.
your limbs and remove your organs and replace them with mechanical parts, because that is what he wants, and that is how you will become enlightened.
What?
Hard technophiles mixed with religious extremism. Adeptus Mechanicus. Now, for their army side of things, they are with the Scutari. The Scutari operate with very bizarre weaponry and lots of different kinds of vehicles, tanks, and different people.
Okay, but, like, are they
They're very
strong?
weird, but they have extremely wacky and enjoyable, and in fact quite effective, both in the real game and in the lore, weaponry and gear. Overall, as an army on the tabletop, they're very weird and have a whole bunch of different shenanigans.
Tech
But
priests
if
are
you
basically your
kinda
own class.
quirky,
Yeah,
wacky
I remember
techno
seeing
thing,
them in
I
like
think
the
they'll pick
game.
up.
So like,
Hell,
okay.
They're so paranoid. I gotta keep going. They're so paranoid and crazy. These Dune Striders you see right here, one guy was able to make them work. One guy, and he died. And they're so scared they'll never work again that they keep them on and they never turn them off, and they run around in a circle the whole time until they need them, and then they corral it and they go to
What?
battle. Yep.
What the
Adeptus
fuck?
Mechanicus. Now, if you want to talk about faith, though, let's talk about the Sisters of Battle.
Oh
A
damn.
simp has fallen for an eagle in Lego City.
The Sisters of Battle of the Adeptus Sororitas, if that's how I pronounce it correctly, is an all-female group of battle sisters.
I was
going
just
through the
thinking, there's
ecclesiarchy
women here?
section of the
In this
Imperium.
world?
The ecclesiarchy is, of course, the church. This is, imagine a private army of the church, which is scary. And it is. The sisters
that
are
is
an
frightening.
extremely zealotous force, and they take this to a full extreme. They believe in three main things:
Okay.
faith, martyrdom, and fire. Through the bolter,
Fire?
the flamer, and the melta, the Sisters of Battle are extremely potent at taking out chaos and heretics. Mainly heretics, because as they are a fighting section of the ecclesiarchy church, that's the big thing they want to kill. Any form of heretic will
How many
face the
fucking
Emperor's
heretics are
justice
there?
through those three main weapons: the bolter, the flamer, and the melta, and they will do so with extreme prejudice. Literally. They are the closest things we have to nuns in space. And I'm talking hardcore nuns.
Not the
they carry
space
holy
nuns.
fire on their backs. They have holy books and sigils all across their armor. Their main battle
Everyone's
tank
a heretic?
is a fucking pipe organ missile launcher. They have
Damn.
small babies that they have removed their brain
Ew.
capacity to make them little servant cherubs to fly around and give them ammunition and shit.
Ew,
They
what the fuck?
drop churches from low orbit as mini drop pods onto battles. They drop churches into battles, and they blare war hymns and holy music.
the fuck?
from their
That's kinda
frigates in low
scary.
atmosphere.
Wait, that's
and
kinda
shower
scary. Oh my
holy
God.
water across the battlefield. These are the people you are dealing with, and they're fucking awesome. They can literally stave off demons on the tabletop because their faith is that strong. Remember
That's
the warp
scary.
demons from the warp? Well, the
Hi,
warp
Lord.
also manifests in your mind. all of your emotions, negative and positive, go through the warp. It's the immaterium, the place of all things. So if you are that mentally fortified, that mentally strong, you can stave off horrifying demons. And all these girls, not a crack. Not a crack in that mental armor.
What the
now, as much
fuck?
As a meme
That's
as
kind
they
of
are, and as much as their models look a lot like Ongo Gabloglian, yeah, which I can't unsee anymore. I gotta say, I love their design. I think they're extremely cool.
Do you guys think they're
another
cool?
army that I'm currently collecting. They just released a whole new line of figures very recently, and they look wonderful. Everything from Celestine, the living, literally undying saint, from the triumph of Saint Catherine, which is literally a funeral procession as a model. Those organ tanks I mentioned earlier. This shit is the most over-the-top badassery in a lot of the Warhammer universe, and goddamn it, is it over the top. But Sisters of Battle are so cool. While I'm a guardsman at heart, this is such a cool faction. By Bolter
Gage,
Shell,
thank you so much
Flamer
for the
Burst,
Gage, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in. If you guys don't know who I am, Miwa Bell. All I do is play Yu-Gi-Oh! And cry. Right now, we are watching 2 hours of Warhammer 40k lore and crying because is everyone fucking evil? I don't understand. Everyone's fucking trying to kill heretics,
and
bro.
Belta Blast, the mutant, the heretic, and the traitor alike are cleansed of their sin of existence. So it has been for 5 millennia, so shall it be until the end of time. And speaking of burning demons,
I can see!
I can fight!
the Grey Knights are the first army I actually collected back in
They're all
7th edition.
evil?
The Grey Knights are a super secretive and much more old school look at power armored knights, except they are all psychers.
I feel like I've seen them before. I've seen like pictures of them before, but I might have like mistaken them for like
1,000 guardsmen, there's 1 Grey Knight. For every 10,000 Sisters of Battle, there's 1 Grey Knight. For every 1,000 Space Marines, there's 1 Grey Knight. Grey Knights are the strongest of the strong, both in mental will and absolute just strength. These are Space Marines that are all high-level psychers. All of them able to specifically do one goal,
the magic
and
guys.
that is kill demons. The Emperor believed that the demons of chaos were the #1 threat to the Imperium, and he probably is right. However, this group is entirely based on doing that through a myriad of tactics. Coming from the planet, or I guess the moon of Titan in the Sol system, the Grey Knights are thrown through extremely rigorous training and are as clear of mind and soul as they possibly can be. Since the demons of the warp are the warp and your mind projects to the warp, people can go insane very fast, especially lower level psychers. These Grey Knights need to be able to harness the warp in the presence of demons and stay perfectly sane. One of their characters, one of my favorite characters, is named Castellan Crow. He has a demon blade, the black blade of Mahamahama, and he has to have it on him. The demon blade on what? Because it tempts everyone nearby, constantly beckoning them. Use my power, use my strength, suck my penis, whatever the possibility. And so he has to keep it on him all the time as this thing whispers to him.
Damn, bro, that's that shit on lock.
And he has to stave it off forever, being alone in his chambers or on the battlefield, because anyone who gets too close to it might be tempted.
I don't know who that is yet.
He is that pure of heart and mind, and all the characters in the Grey Knights are basically like that. The only issue is that
but the
Grey Knights have a scorched earth policy, more ways than one. If they're fighting demons, demons corrupt and make people crazy. So if I'm a guardsman and I'm fighting demons and the Grey Knights arrive and they kill all the demons, I'm a risk. And so guess who's not making it out of there? On the tabletop, they're very strike fast, strike hard kind of people. They teleport all around
how do you
the place.
play the tabletop
They're fast strike groups, small amounts of models because they're so dang strong. You only have so many characters, but with it, you get in there, you're very tough, very tanky, you hit really hard, and you try to bounce around the battlefield quickly, but you don't have numbers.
I will not be getting into like Warhammer.
Like really damn
Warhammer.
They're fun though if you like that kind of fast striking
See,
kind of army. Oh, and also
I have fully
Caldor
understood
Drago
the
is a
limits
thing.
of my
We're
wallet,
already
and therefore
getting
I will not
Caldor
be
Drago.
extending
All right,
it
that is,
towards
oh my goodness
anything
gracious. I am
else.
the hammer. I am the male about his fist.
No,
I am the spear
Ryojin.
in his hand. Though we are lost, I am the shield on his arm. I am the flight of his arrows. I am the hammer. I am the sword. I am the shield. I am a soldier at the battle.
Oh
at the
my
end
god,
of
this
time.
is such
Grey Knights
a
are pretty
guy's
hardcore.
wet
They are
fantasy. I
as
kind of
holy as
love
you
that.
can get for a space marine.
Would you
like Space
cosplay?
Marines?
No,
You wanna know that they're holy
it
enough?
looks
You wanna be
way too
holier?
much. It looks
Grey
way too
Knights.
much work, and it
Now, you
looks
wanna
like it'd be
holier
super
and
hot
big.
to be in
Let's
that
talk
to be in that
Imperial
fit.
Oh, Lord, he coming!
Oh,
Do you like gigantic walkers the size of homes or medium-sized buildings? Do you want to kill heretics, but you want to kill like 40 of them per turn? Do you want a gigantic old-school knight noble house style of walkers with
What the
giant
hell?
chainsaw arms? Then you got Imperial Knights. Imperial Knights, it's not a whole lot to talk about them because they're just gigantic walkers, but they have this old school like house feel to them. Like literally like they're
Not the
houses.
fucking house.
Each Imperial Knight comes from a house, and each of them act in their own special way. These behemoth of walkers also destroy almost everything in their path, killing full swaths of squads in a couple shots, stepping on legions of troops. Like, these things do not mess around. And they look so cool. Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights.
Okay,
actually,
but
for
there
that
has to
matter,
be like
don't
a
have whole lot to
limited
discuss.
number of
They're
them,
just
right?
super
Yeah, they're
big,
basically
heavy
fucking like
walkers,
Gundams.
and they look different depending on your house or chaos god you currently believe in. And overall, these things are just really cool if you want to murder everything in your path. They're the big, scary, big unit of
Okay.
Warhammer, and if you want to collect them, go to town. They make for a great painting project. Too.
Okay, but
Game
like,
over
what's the
back down to
bad thing
Earth.
about them?
Let's talk something about a little bit different, a little
What
more
sucks about them?
gold. If guardsmen are regular soldiers, space marines are super soldiers, Grey Knights are super soldiers, the Adeptus Custodes are super soldiers
They
cubed.
move slow?
The
Oh,
Adeptus
that's it?
Custodes are the third major army I own. I know, 3 armies. I know, I got carried away, okay? But that's all. I only have 3, okay? They are our final brand of
this
Space
guy
Marines,
must be.
but these ones are super special.
His wallet must be
okay?
crying.
If a guardsman is 6 foot, a space marine is 7 feet, a custodian is 8 feet. These are the giant defenders of Holy Terra, which is also
This is
Earth.
Henry
Earth is
Cavill's
Terra,
favorite
Earth
one.
is
Oh my
Terra
god.
themselves. These are the people that literally guard the Emperor's throne room.
Oh.
Hence, custodians. These boys protect the Emperor's throne room at all times and are literally like.
Oh my god. Why does this look like Blasphemous? If you guys know that game, sick. Why does this low-key look like Blasphemous armor?
Crafted people. They're not human.
Actually, no, now I think about it, Blasphemous is also very, like, boy-coded,
super
huh?
soldiers. I think from a tube. These behemoth of men are like 8 feet, 8.5 feet tall, and functionally immortal. They stand still, spear in hand, for hundreds of years without the need to sleep and barely even
Hundreds of
need to
years?
eat, watching
What
over
do you
the
do?
throne room and every other area of Holy Terra for their entire purpose in life. And oh my lord, are they terrifying. These custodians put Space Marines to shame. If you liked your super soldiers, these are your super mega soldiers. One of these men can take on probably 3 Space Marines and
You
most
watch,
likely
okay.
win. There are many different groups of custodians as well, like the
Oh, that
Solar
one's
Watch.
kinda cute.
Or there's also one of my personal favorite, the Aquilin Shield. The Aquilin Shield go out to seemingly
purple makes it
unimportant
less
individuals and protect them because they believe that they are going to be doing something very important in their lives. For instance, let's say a regular guardsman gets the protection of this giant 8.5 foot tall golden god because that guardsman will end up becoming a general one day or something of that nature. The custodians work in mysterious ways and are almost always outnumbered but never outmatched. These people are pretty horrifying, both on the tabletop as well as in the lore. There are very few of them, however, and there's actually an extremely small amount of them, but that's kind of the point. There's only so many of these people that can have war gear this strong, weapons this powerful, and training
What is
this
that,
good.
like,
And the
heavily
custodians
detailed
have all
loincloth?
3 of it. For 100 years, I stood my watch amidst the somber shadows of the Sanctum Imperialis. I was still as a statue, but always ready. always attuned to dangers unseen. Days,
God.
months, years passed by in a frenzied blur beyond those walls, yet within, little moved and nothing changed. For 100 years I did not but wait, yet had any threat appeared, I would have struck it down in a heartbeat. For 100 years I stood my watch, and as it ends I can tell you this: patience is a weapon. The custodians are the top
that shit hits
dogs of the
hard.
Imperium,
Thank you.
and they hurt
Thank
just
you,
that same way.
Yoshi.
Though I do want to
I
discuss a little
follow.
bit about the Sisters of Silence before we get out of here, because the Sisters of
What is
Silence
that
I
hair?
also have a few of, and they're really fun, but they don't get enough attention. These kind of bald plume
What is that
ladies
hair?
are a whole group of pariahs, or also known as blanks. We'll be referring to them as blanks from now on. So as every mind is somewhat connected to the warp, these blanks are a genetic mutation that has it suppressed
that
heavily.
makes sense.
Because of that mind suppression, normal people feel this weird, like, uncomfortable nature when around them. When a Sister of Silence walks past them, you feel ill. You feel just uncomfortable and strange. So most of them don't actually live past childhood, because once they are birthed, they're, well, you know, killed
No,
or something at a very young age.
Unfortunately,
because they just
I am
emit
married
a
to 50 different
horrifying
women.
aura. These ladies, however, are guardians of the throne as well for more psychic threats. See, none of the custodians are psychers, so they have a difficult time dealing with major demons and other kinds of psychic phenomena. These sisters are extremely specialized in it, all of them taking a vow of silence as they don't speak, hence the
When
term
did you get a
Sister Silence,
harem?
but they
Do
communicate
you
through
not see how
hand
many
gestures
women
and things of that
I
nature.
call my
But if there's
wives?
a demon issue, if there's any kind of warp-based problem, the sisters are extremely adept at dealing with them, thanks to their blank gene. They normally work a lot of time with the custodians because they have to deal with both kinds of threats, but they're not represented that way on the tabletop. In fact, they only have like one real model for them, which is very unfortunate. I hope they'll get some like.
I just want to ask, what is that hair though?
Working together as it is that way in the lore, but hopefully we'll get there soon. But if we're talking about blanks, let's talk assassins.
Ooh.
It's
This
been a
makes
long
sense.
video.
This
We're about to round it out. We got this and one more human thing, and then we're done. The assassins, though, the Officio Assassinorum. Oh boy, these people are.
Oh my
deadly.
God! Why does that
Assassins
look like
should be,
fucking?
but, oh man, these people will mess you up.
Ah,
So, these
Rainbow
are
Six
from
Siege.
the Officio Assassinorum, a very special organization, and they are handpicked by the Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum from the what was it called? Schola Progenium. It's basically an orphan school. Your parents got murdered by demons or something. You get sent to this, and you get trained to be whatever. Tempestus Drop Troop, an Inquisitor, maybe even. Maybe you get a blank gene and you get thrown into the Sisters of Silence, or sometimes you just disappear. When you are taken, however, you go to one of 4 temples because the Assassinorum works in the temple style of things. These temples are the Vindicare, Caluxus, Calidus, and Eversor temples. Let's start with the Vindicare. I'm far away. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks.
Not the Tua. That's crazy.
The temple is the main sniper-based temple. Gigantic sniper rifles for all these assassins. Their whole point is to be able to be in a spot and sit there, eye and scope.
Girl, that
for
could not be
weeks,
me.
Waiting for their perfect target, taking people out from literal
I feel like I'd be a
miles
shit
away
sniper because I
after
have like bad
extremely
ADHD.
long time
I could
periods.
not have the
Vindicare
patience.
Temple is about precise, perfect aim. There have been reports of Vindicares being able to single out particular body parts from over 2-3 miles away. Temples in the head, the jugular, for instance, and been sitting there after weeks. And when they're ready, take that shot. Time is done. Packs them up. The Calidus Temple, however, is a lot more about shape-shifting.
Oh my
and
God,
deviant
women.
art. It's mostly a female-based one, or at least it seems to be, and this allows a lot of body augmentation for certain individuals to be able to kind of transmorph
I don't really want to
themselves
pilot
and
the
infiltrate
murder
areas that are
Gundam
problems.
because like
These assassins will end up taking
I feel like
missions that
dying
take
in it
them
would be
years,
painful.
2-3 years to infiltrate a heretical group and slowly work their way up just to get enough time to put a bullet into the main target's head and then escape unharmed. Or become the main target and sabotage it from within. These are all
Damn.
completely about deception, mind tricks, polymorphing, and everything in between. And lots of drawings.
Not
the
the
Eversor Temple.
Not the ass.
Just kind of disturbing one. The Eversor Temple is about when you don't want anything to come back alive, friend or foe. You want it all dead. And Eversor is psychogenically conditioned with just psychotherapy and psychological torture to only feel violence, hatred, and anger. It does the Clockwork Orange style of thing of just making you forced to watch never-ending pain and misery and psycho conditioning, I guess is the term. And then they pump you full of tons of psychedelic drugs and they cryo-freeze you. And then they drop you in an area where they just want to make sure everything is dead. And then you defrost, full of just all this insane, mind-boggling psychotherapy and psychedelic drugs, and you just go to town. Yeah, if you don't care if anyone comes back alive. You're like, all right, lost cause, send them in. Finally, there's the most bizarre temple, the Calyxus
kind of crazy.
Temple.
What the fuck?
The Calyxus assassins are feared even among the other temples. So that blank gene, the people will go to the Calyxus temple with this as well. And this is where they can harness that to be massively anti-psyker or even just anti-regular people. They are seen with extreme fear and distrust among many, many people. They are described by the Eldar by quote as being pure evil. Imagine that uncomfortable feeling from that blank gene I mentioned, and then imagine them being taught and given equipment to amplify it by 100. If normally regular people feel uncomfortable, now they are basically akin to being a siren wailing directly in your ear.
Scary
and if
world.
you're a psyker, oh no. The sheer presence of a Calyxus assassin is enough for you to tear your skin off. You will rather gouge your eyes out and rip your nails off than even being near this person. The Calyxus assassin is when you want psychers to literally lose their minds.
This
and they
is
will go
a
on
scary
their knees and ask
universe.
you
Oh
to
my
gun them
god.
down because it is a suitable choice over being anywhere near you. The motto of that temple is, "That which is unknown and unseen commands the greatest fear." Now for the tabletop, assassins aren't that special. You can call them in no matter what Imperium faction you are, and they do a lot of work for themselves, but at the same time, they're very specialized and require a lot of finesse. And they work the way you generally want them to, though. You want to cause some distortion and weird stuff, you take a Calidus. You want to just murder swaths of infantry and then blow up Eversor. You want to kill that one guy, Vindicator, and if you have a lot of Psychers, Calyxus. It's a nice little, like, jack of all trades if you have a specific thing you want to kill. And you get to choose which is really fun. But now, let's talk about the last human faction. We can round this video out before we do part 2, the Inquisition. And we have a lot to talk about with them.
I don't know if I've got good vibes.
Oh boy.
With a name like that, I don't know if I've got
even
good
begin with
vibes.
the Inquisition. Take every secret police you can think of. The KGB, the Gestapo, the CIA, FBI, any of these kinds of people. And then mark it up by about 10.
Do any of them have
and
good vibes?
give them
No.
the most power in the entire Imperium. No,
What?
You know what? How about this? This right here, it's not just a quote. This is the Imperial motto. The motto of the Inquisition. I apologize for my bad pronunciation. Innocentia nihil probat. Innocence proves nothing.
What does that even mean?
The most powerful organization in the Imperium, the secret police, their #1 motto is innocence proves nothing. The Inquisition goes around like the secret police or like detectives to find issues in the Imperium.
A little
and they have
Lapis
different
for
orders
follow.
depending on which one we're talking about. The Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Xenos, the Ordo Malleus, for instance, and a whole bunch of other ones. Hereticus is obvious, they deal with heretics. Xenos tries to find alien threats, and Malleus is demons. They all have different specializations in what they're trying to go for as this Inquisitor. And that's what they're called, Inquisitors. Each of them, as an Inquisitor, has their own free reign to do as they wish. They may have a ship and a crew,
That's
and they go out to find problems and interrogate people a lot. They are above the law in every department over Space Marines. Now, the Space Marines might argue against them and stuff, and there might be a lot of blowback, but technically they are above them as Inquisitors. They are looking to investigate and figure out coups and cults and demonic incursions and possible Xenos issues like gene stealers or a new threat coming into an area. They're about learning that stuff and actually doing detective work. And memes aside, they're pretty good at it. The Inquisition having all of this power does make them a little bit power hungry and frantic sometimes. And yes, it is still a bad thing, but most of them are pretty good at their job. And they spend a lot of time being very diligent to make sure that all of these leads they follow are proper and correct. They're basically space detectives with just enormous power and sometimes a bit of a power complex. And we haven't even talked about Exterminatus yet. Exterminatus.
Space detectives are kind of crazy.
A planet unfit to be saved. I deem that this planet is demon infested and taking it back will cost too many resources and is not worth it. I have now committed Exterminatus on this planet. I will now sign the death warrant of an entire Imperium planet as it is unfit to take and better to be destroyed than allow the enemy to hold it. This can mean saturation bombardment. This can mean cracking the planet's core and breaking it apart. Doesn't matter. Render this planet inhospitable to all life. Yes, the innocence proves nothing people are the only people who can choose this planet must die in its entirety. Yeah, you're playing the villain. Now, it is memed a lot, but most Inquisitors are very rare to do Exterminatus. Exterminatus is a very crazy thing. There's only so many worlds that you don't want to destroy all of them. Now, naturally, with the memes aside, there are some people who are a little bit rough on this one. But most Inquisitors generally don't like to do Exterminatus a ton, but it is an option they have. And it's a crazy option when you think about it. Secret Police Inquisition are unfortunately not represented on the tabletop very much. You generally kind of put one in your army if you feel like it. You have a couple special options there and some side content.
Yeah, I can
but they're not
imagine
really
it's
fleshed out very
bad.
well, and personally they need a lot more stuff put in there, and they really need a lot more effort put into them, and they're not quite where I want them to be. Overall, the Inquisition makes for a lot of the best storytelling as well,
basically
because it's a little bit hard to talk about a big story of a whole bunch of Space Marines killing something, right? It's just a big battle story. It's not as interesting. Having that intrigue and that moral dilemma that an Inquisitor has makes for a lot better media. And honestly, the more people do it, I think it's better, because then it adds a little more humanity to the Warhammer horrible, horrible grimdarkness. And wow, we just finished the humans. All right, come back for part 2 when we talk about Chaos and Xenos, because we got to talk about the 4 Chaos Gods and all the Chaos Marine Legions and the Tau and the Necrons and the Orcs, and oh boy, we got a lot. I'll see you in part 2.
Okay, guys, it's time for part 2.
Hey,
oh, I didn't pause the timer?
In a 2-part series on the Warhammer races.
Well, it's fine.
If you haven't seen part 1 yet, we do the Imperium of Man. You can check that out in the description, and I would highly recommend you watch that to get context for this episode. If you already have, go ahead and keep on watching. So after an entire episode of nothing but humans, we can now talk about chaos, which involves humans again, but a little bit less. We also got demons and shit.
I just felt someone grab my ass.
What?
Like,
what?
Hard, Nick.
So, as I've mentioned many times before, we discussed the war.
Which Imperium faction I want to How about none of them?
Landscape, the purgatory dimension realm between the
if I got isekai'd into like the Warhammer universe,
there are demons everywhere. Things are crazy. All your minds and thoughts and emotions get projected there. It is both formless and empty. It is vast and tiny. It obeys the laws of time and physics while simultaneously does absolutely nothing of the sort. It is a hodgepodge and a culmination of just unknowable, eldritch, horrifying shit. And there are 4 gods that permeate in chaos and the warp. These are the 4 major chaos gods. And if we wish to learn about chaos, we need to learn about each and every single one of these chaos gods. First up, we have Khorne, and he is the easiest. Khorne is your classic Satan. He is all about anger, murder, fighting, blood, guts, death. You ever heard the term blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne? That's Khorne. The whole idea is that he is all about the fury and strength of battle. He doesn't care where blood comes from, so long as blood is flowing. He wants to fight and murder and carnage and slaughter and death, 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 death. That is Khorne.
Death is crazy.
Next up,
what the fuck?
Tzeentch, and Tzeentch is the god of change. However, the god of change permeates in so many different other ways. He's the most eldritch of all the demon gods. He has this weird way to always be plucking at the strings of the universe. He's always conniving and scheming and doing his best to cause as much little bullshit as he can. Tzeentch is unknowable. Everything that makes sense, he will and won't do. Every future and setting and every type of destiny or fate is all foretold and also changeable. It is set in stone while also completely random. He knows what everything is going to happen and also that none of it's going to happen. You would ask Tzeentch a question. That question leads to 3 more questions. And those questions lead to the heat death of the universe, which asks 4 answers to those questions. And then he thinks to himself, what are questions even really? And are you even asking the questions, or are you simply giving paths to answers and
wait, that's so
bullshit?
Confusing.
Tzeentch is just I'm gonna fuck with stuff. He is yes and he is no. He is the understanding and he is complexity. He is unknowable. And that's what the God of Change is about. Very bizarre. And he likes birds a lot. I don't know why. Next up we got Papa Nurgle. Papa Nurgle, he loves you for who you are. Probably not. He will murder you just the same. But Papa Nurgle is about rot, pestilence.
He's me IRL. Yeah, you confuse the fuck out of me.
He is the end of everything. Him and Tzeentch do not like each other very much because where Tzeentch represents change and adjustment, Nurgle represents stagnation and death. He is all about miasma and pestilence and large bloat and pus and organs and people just being sedentary, sloth. He is the idea that everything will rot and decay and die. Nothing is certain besides decay and death. All of us will end up the same way, and broken down through just sheer never-ending decomposition. So the joke that Nurgle always loves you is generally because of that, because we all end up the same. We all rot, and we all die and wither. That's Nurgle, and he's got a general theme of course, pestilence and different kinds of diseases and sickness and things of that nature. That's generally Nurgle. He's pretty easy to understand as well, and he chunk. Finally, we have the youngest of the Chaos Gods, and that is Slaanesh, also known as the Prince of Pleasure or the God of Unspeakable Excess. Slaanesh is generally referred to with sex, but it's not only sex, it's just that's a good avenue if you want to make stuff. Slaanesh is just the idea of the senses of the body being cranked to not just 11, but more like 17. So we'll discuss Slaanesh a little bit more when we talk about the Eldar, because they done fucked up, but it, or whatever, is mainly about just the excess of emotion.
No, Django, not like this.
Therefore, sex is generally a large part of it. However, it's mostly pain.
That looks scary. What the fuck?
Torture,
wait, I don't like that picture. Oh no.
Lots of drugs. Lots of drugs. Slaanesh gets off on everything. Extremes in happiness, extremes in sadness, extremes in pain and sadism and masochism. And of course that goes along with the sex part of it as well. It's generally referred to with sex because of the color scheme, very purple, lots of exposed genitalia. A lot of their models have like exposed nipples and stuff. And that is generally the theme you go for from a physical side, but it really embodies everything. Mainly pain and also the excessive amounts of emotion. So when it comes down to it, you'll find a lot of them have things like spikes or whips or any kind of BDSM style gear because it is unspeakable excess, the Prince of Pleasure. Everything in excess, to the point where it is just sheer frightening. That is Slaanesh in a nutshell.
You keep trying to do that, bestie. It's not gonna happen.
But as we talk more about the Dark Eldar later in this video, you'll understand it far, far better and far more than you'd want to. Now you might be thinking, why would anyone ever want to join
Yeah, they're
Chaos?
basically
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Horrifying, screwed up, and just frightening things, right? Well, the thing is that, of course, one, your mind is put into the warp and the materium, so you can be easily swayed by chaos demons when they get into your head.
Slaanesh is so
especially if you're a
gender.
psyker. Sometimes regiments of the less immensely strong people,
when
whether they be
someone is so
civilians or, say, low-level
non-specifically
guardsmen or
gendered that they
conscripts,
become
can be easily
gender
swayed by
itself.
this and become chaos cultists and stuff, and they serve
07,
their dark
guys.
gods and whatever god they personally prefer. However, and this might seem
He
strange,
likes pee-pee po-po
chaos
too much.
in their own right isn't necessarily evil. See, the warp is every manifestation of emotion and being, every soul, everything of existence. This includes all the good things. All the different chaos gods have another side to their coin. Khorne might be death, murder, slaughter, slaughter, but he's also got this weird sense of survival of the fittest, trial by combat, and honor. Khorne will never lie to you. Khorne will never stab you in the back. Khorne isn't about conniving and scheming. Khorne is about straight up mano, you versus me, get in the ring, we're gonna murder each other hard right now.
Okay, no, this is so guy coded. What the hell?
Him and Zeech generally don't get along because Zeech is that conniving schemer, but he's also about the idea of hope. Where there is change for your predicament. There is change for your problem. The hope of the galaxy, the ability to bend the world to your will, the idea that your fate is not set in stone, but in reality that you control your own destiny and can control it whenever you want, the changer of ways.
Okay.
That is Zeech. And of course, Zeech and Nurgle hate each other because while Nurgle does represent stagnation, death, and decay, he also represents finality. An ending. The fact that you can be mentally at peace knowing that you will end and how you will end. Fear of the unknown.
Is that really a
change
thing,
is not
though?
present with Nurgle. With Nurgle, everything will rot and die, and that provides that finality, that ability that this is over. We are all the same, and we will all end the same. We know the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to live and die and rot. And with that, it brings peace of mind. Slaanesh is a lot more simple. While they are the excess of emotion, they are also the representation of emotion.
Oh my god,
Slaanesh embodies happiness. Slaanesh embodies excitement and joy and pleasure. Not only in the sense of the physical, bam style of pleasure, but also everything else like food and drink and air on
food
your
is so
cheek,
good.
and sunlight, the feeling, emotion and feeling. All of that is also represented with Slaanesh. So you have to ask, why are they always represented as super evil skulls and spikes on everything and want to murder everybody? I don't really got an answer for you on that one. My assumption is that because mentally humans may think worse thoughts even if we don't act on them, and therefore they're projected in the warp more. That one's a little bit weird. I don't know. This is me spitballing right now, but I don't know. You need a super bad guy. You already got the Imperium of Man. You need somebody to be a little bit worse than them.
Okay.
So you got demons. Honestly, who cares? I just want to buy like a bird magician. Look at him.
Oh, that's kind of
So
cool.
So combining all this together on the tabletop, Chaos Demons are generally very melee based. They run in, go really hard. You have lots of summoning and conjuring, tons of spells.
Jago,
Generally a
no,
little
you're
bit frail,
challenging
but
him.
They have special saves to make them a little bit stronger. You've got giant demons and smaller demons. You got hordes of little boys and tons of big guys. Demons are as they seem. Demons. Nurgle is slow, Khorne is super scary in melee, you've got Zeech who are far more into psychers and spellcasting, and then Slaanesh who is all melee, really, really, really fast but squishy, but in lots of hordes of tons of melee and pain damage, of course. So overall, the demons are a huge part of 40k and a massive threat to almost every single faction with the exception of a couple. However, the big part about demons is also transferred into the other 9 Primarchs we didn't talk about, which are the Chaos Space Marines. So Horus and all of his boys, all of them in the Primarchs, they have all also become Chaos Boys, and they all have their own special Chaos Legions, specializing in so many different things, just like the Adeptus Astartes, the Angels of Death, the regular Space Marines. Chaos Space Marines aren't a whole lot different than the regular Space Marines. They have the same armor, the same training and toughness. They just specialize in different kinds of things. And also a lot of the Primarchs have ascended into greater is it greater demons? They're demon Primarchs at this point. Gigantic horrifying man-demon hybrids that are pretty awesome, if I'm going to be honest. They look really, really cool. But
This
them
looks
and their
so
associated legions they are
my
part
boss
of
coded.
are all kind of going out there and causing a large ruckus for everyone else. Considering the raw strength and firepower of a legion of Space Marines, imagine that entire legion just converting to chaos and immediately fighting you. It's generally pretty horrifying. There's a
No,
lot
like
of them,
he'd
so I
like
gotta write
this.
them down. But you've got the Emperor's Children with Primarch Fulgrim, loyal to Slanesh. These people, they are some messed up people. They're just sensory
what happened to
overload,
his
tons
face?
of drugs, tons of torture. And I think Fulgrim is a demon Primarch right now. And oh god, I am terrified to see what that man looks like. At least on the tabletop, because Emperor's Children are not good people. You've got the Iron Warriors, which are kind of like opposite of the Imperial Fists, with Primarch Perturabo, I believe is his name. They're Chaos Undivided. They just kind of serve Chaos in a general aspect instead of choosing one of the four. But the Iron Warriors are big on the siege and fortification, and they're basically
this shit might give
entirely
me
against
nightmares
the Imperial
tonight.
Fists and a major rival. Perturabo, I believe, is also still alive, and I'm also very interested to see what he looks like.
Oh, that's scary.
Demon
Oh,
Primarch's a
fuck.
badass. You've got the Night Lords with Primarch Conrad Kurz. Conrad Kurz is dead, which is good because he's a sick fuck. But the Night Lords are generally about terror, terrorizing people, and terrorism. They're generally about fear, and rightly so. You've got the World Eaters with Primarch Angron, still alive, also excited to see.
That's
Angron,
scary.
if you think you've known an angry person, Angron is the angriest son of a bitch you will ever know. Angron removed parts of his brain that didn't make him angry, so he could be angrier. Angron.
What does that even
You've got the
mean?
Death Guard with Primarch Mortarion. They actually have their own special codex and their own major army on the tabletop. Mortarion himself is actually one of the models, and look at him. Look at him. It's so cool looking.
That's crazy.
Of course,
No, that's
Nurgle
not. That is
based,
scary.
obviously. So very slow, but very tanky. You've got the Word Bearers with Primarch Lorgar. Lorgar is, I believe, still alive. I don't know what's up with him at the current moment, but the Word Bearers are generally the people who caused all the major problems in the beginning. At least I blame them for it. They're little assholes. You got the Black Legion with Primarch Horus.
Did I jump scare you?
Get fucked,
Yeah, I
nerd.
bet I did.
You've got the Alpha Legion
What
with
the
Primarch
heck?
Alfarius Omegon. Chaos, I think. And then finally,
Not
you've got the
the
Thousand
jump
Sons with
scare.
Primarch Magnus the Nerd. Thousand Sons also have their own book, just like the Death Guard. Magnus is also a tabletop model. He looks super cool, as you can tell, and they're all super heavily Psyker and kind of Egyptian themed. They look pretty neat. But overall, with all
what's
of
with the
these
whole
Chaos Space
Egyptian
Marine
theme
factions,
thing?
you can play as a lot of different ones, but the main ones that you can really work at are standard Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, as well as the Death Guard and Thousand Sons, as they are the most fleshed out, especially on the tabletop at least. See this right here? This is a really good way to describe the Chaos Space Marines. What the thick-headed fools with their broken corpse of an emperor fail to understand is that not only can they never defeat us, but they cannot hide or flee or shield themselves from the triumph of chaos. They are finite and we are unbound, undivided. They must not err, or they shall fall to heresy. All who fall join our cause. Every imperial fool who dares to open his eyes is a willing recruit.
What the
They
fuck
strive
does this
merely to
even
hold back
mean?
our fury and
Jesus.
might, and it consumes them. Thus, you can see chaos is inevitable. We lurk not only beyond their grasp and at their gates, we lurk within the darkness of their souls, on the tip of their tongues, in their tortured dreams. We are them, but freed from the shackles of ignorance. We are them, grown strong, evolved.
Wait, there's
We are
stuff
them,
missing
but
from this
so
video and the
much
guy wants to
more.
remake it?
As hardcore as that quote is, the saddest part is they're mostly right. Chaos is basically unkillable. You could
Okay,
probably
I mean, I
get
guess,
rid
yeah,
of Space
chaos
Marines
is
a decent
unkillable.
amount, the Chaos Space Marines that is, but every soul that dies goes to the warp. Every Chaos soul will end up back in the warp, and depending on how hard you killed them, they will come back at some point. Every demon you banish will return at some point. Chaos is unstoppable. The warp
Damn, bro,
is
it's kind of
unending.
fucky.
And while maybe there is at some point some way to stop them somehow, the resources to do so, the requirements to do so, are so far beyond the reaches of man and the other races at the current moment that really it's just an unstoppable force that just keeps on coming and is just barely being slowed. Chaos is by far the biggest threat. They are without number, their legions are everywhere, and yeah, they're pretty scary. So, I promise, we're done with humans now. Let's talk about some Xenos. So
It's the only reason why we're watching
which
this
are super
is because I saw a friend play the game and I got interested, and now I'm very confused.
Of, well, elf people. They were as well responsible for the creation of Slaanesh, the newest demon
There's
god.
so much.
They do that? Debauchery on a world-ending scale. So back in the day, it was just Khorne, Tzeentch, and Nurgle.
The game,
and the Eldar
Space
are
Marines 2.
very ancient, millions of years. These Eldar, however, have a bit of a sensory problem. You know, every kind of pain or feeling that you have is a little bit amplified compared to the normal. However, with Eldar, as their race advanced so excessively, and they became so self-reliant, and everything became so easy, there was no requirement for food production anymore, there was no shortages, everything was basically done. Everyone was so comfortable, and that comfort breeded this weird sedation, and that sedation breeded the requirement for more and more debauchery.
Okay.
Debauchery! Debauchery!
When everything you have can be so easily acquired, you will end up down this road of pure debauchery. All of the senses the Eldar had that were so powerful, things like feeling, happiness, sadness.
Speaking about debauchery, oh my god. So like one of my friends was telling me that like she's thinking about breaking up with her boyfriend. And like it's because she wanted to do it. And you know what her boyfriend decided to say? And you know what her boyfriend decided to say? No, I want to watch porn. And she was like, if he like, you know, doesn't want to do it anymore, we might as well break up. And I was like, you know, I think you should.
And just evil and good all needed to be satisfied and satiated.
No, it's happened. It's happened like a bunch of times. So she was like, so she's kind of like turned off of it.
Worse and worse debauchery. It started off with things like sex and drugs becoming so much more rampant because of these are the first things you generally turn to when requirements for living.
Do you have friends in normal relationships?
It would
no.
get to the point that made Sander Cohen and
you know,
Bioshock
I have like more married
this
friends.
This is the kind of debauchery it led
than
to.
like single friends, but the single friends are all like all are like, you know, we're all everyone's in like weird fucked up relationships. So
that
hey.
only elevated and elevated. And this was
he might have like an addiction, so it's probably a bad
going
thing.
Down darker, more depraved, and more violent paths as time
I want
went
to be
on.
like,
However,
yeah, you know, they're all in like
didn't
weird
entirely
fucked
take
up
to that.
relationships.
Some
I
of the
remember,
Eldar
no,
were
my
looking
exes
at
were
this
pretty bad too.
depraved
We were all in
species
really
that they
bad
had become
relationships, huh?
And said,
Oof.
no thanks for me, dog. I'm good. And they bailed. These are the crap.
Nair, can you
world
screenshot
Eldar.
that for
they
me?
left on these giant continent-sized starships called craft worlds. They believed in
that's
learning
kinda
the
cute.
old ways of the Eldar and pushing away from this depravity and debauchery and going back to their main roots. And so they would segment themselves on these giant craft worlds far in the outer reaches of space. They even had this thing called the Webway. Remember what we mentioned about warp travel with the Imperium? Well, the Eldar had something way safer called a Webway. And the Eldar Webway is actually like a pocket dimension kind of thing. And in that pocket dimension, there were also more horrible, depraved groups and clans that would spend their time in there. And if you imagine the debauchery was bad already, these were debauchery X10.
That's crazy. This looks like fucking Mad Max. It looks like the guy from Mad Max.
Slaanesh just burst forth. All that emotion, all that mental, well, thought processes, I suppose. All of this in such a condensed space. Don't forget, this is all being shot, all their souls as well, into the warp. All this depravity right into the warp. So what happened? Boom. Slaanesh was birthed and killed off 90% of the entire Eldar population.
What?
Untold trillions had their souls ripped from their bodies and their actual fleshy bodies devoured by Slaanesh demons. The entirety of the Eldar race was eaten alive and their souls consumed to the Prince of Pleasure.
What?
All of them got fucked up. It was so bad that it literally ripped a warp hole into the fabric of the material called the Eye of Terror. That's literally this like quasi horrifying gateway portal from the Materium and the Immaterium right next to Cadia. And it is horrifying. So this Slaanesh, also known as She Who Thirsts by the Eldar, slaughtered the entire population.
Hi, Jack.
Except for a couple. Those in the
Not that being so bad they made a
actually
god.
not
That's
affected by this,
crazy.
as they were so far in the reaches of the galaxy, that
Oh.
crazy crack, that birth of Slaanesh only affected the ones in the center. So
Oh,
these
okay,
craft world
that's
Eldar
nice.
were able to escape, but Slaanesh got their sights on them. Every time an Eldar will die, their soul doesn't just pass into the warp naturally. It goes straight to Slaanesh, craft world or not. What about those people in the webway? Well, imagine that giant birth happening, but they were only able to just barely get a grasp onto you. Slaanesh was just barely able to hold on. These people are the Dark Eldar, or also known as the Drukhari. The Eldar population right now is so massively small. It is minuscule compared to any of the other most of the other populations in the universe. The Eldar are consistently having issues trying to get their population up because as their souls are constantly being hungered by from Slaanesh, they realize their entire species is doomed. And they understand it very well. Since the time of the fall, our race has been haunted by what we, in our reckless pursuit of hedonistic indulgence, gave birth to. Though our dreams once overturned worlds and quenched
This is
suns,
kinda
we are now but
crazy.
fitful shadows clinging to the edge of existence. All the stars in the sky cannot blot out the hateful glare of the red moon's eye. The birthing place of the great enemy pulses with all the malice of a demon that is dreaming, casting its shadow over all we have ever done and all we ever shall. Every twisted strand of fate and casting of the runes leads me to this time, to this place, and it is clear that the final battle awaits me at the ancient Crone worlds, a conflict the likes of which has not been seen since the Monkai warred amongst themselves and their corpse of a seer fell to his traitorous son, is coming, and all my steps lead towards it, no matter that I walk other paths. I see the stars stained
This is
red
so
with the blood
long.
of the Monkai,
Holy
and
shit.
though their wars do not concern me, I would gladly let them destroy one another. I know that to avoid this fight is to condemn my race to inevitable doom, and though all I see is darkness, I know that I will not flinch from my destiny.
What the fuck?
And now let's talk about cute plastic models.
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
The first playable race we have for the Eldar are the Craft World Eldar and living in those Craft World starships I mentioned earlier. And
They're
each of
so
them
cool.
have
I
their
knew
own
you
kind of
liked these
craft world,
ones.
almost like a Space Marine Legion. Each Craft World is in itself its own special kind of group. And the Eldar themselves are very fast and rely a lot on trickery. They are squishy, a bit weak, but they're very in tune as psychers. Tons of psychers
Ooh.
across the entire Eldar population, and their weaponry and abilities are fast and extremely hard-hitting, but of course rather fragile. Understanding an Eldar's brain is an exercise in futility.
Wait, it's
They
like
are
that the
all over
whole ass
place.
brain, or is that just the
Fusion
helmet?
and trickery on a whole galactic scale. They fight weird, they think weirder, and Eldar in their own right really rely on this to keep their species alive. They need to think about deception and the strangeness of what they do if they truly want to not be immediately murdered.
Why do you
and
hate me?
slaughtered wholesale,
What?
thanks to their entirely small
It's just your
population.
vibes.
However, I must say that it seems like their population is getting slightly better. These craft worlds hold millions upon millions of people, and as they continually, you know,
Oh, they're
reproduce
cone
and
heads.
have
Yeah,
their craft
see?
worlds
So
expand,
it's their
losing a
hit.
few people in
Yeah.
battle, while hurts a lot, they are
Bring
really
back the
losing
Unfunny
what's
Jokes
extremely
channel.
precious to them. It's not like every single death means the death of their species. It seems that they're kind of on the upturn a little bit. They're still a doomed race being sucked into Slaanesh every time someone dies, but they are definitely doing a little bit better than they were before.
Okay,
Eldar
that's
are
good.
fast, cunning, and what they don't make up for in tankiness, they make up for in extremely advanced weaponry. They also call humans Monkai, which is something I mentioned earlier. That is a derogatory
Monkai.
slur for humans in the Warhammer world. Why is it called Monkai? Well, it's because you can't, in your game, call people monkeys.
Oh.
On the tabletop, exactly what I said. Not very tanky, generally pretty squishy, hit like trucks.
Oh my
and move
god,
at
they're
Mach
like
5.
yellow.
Fast, hit hard, die fast. Exactly how it sounds. They've been good for a very long time, too. We bring only death and leave only carry-on. It is a message even a human can understand. Eldar. So, Drukhari. Let's talk about the Dark.
This is the one you guys like, huh?
Episode of how fucked up is fucked up. That's fucked up.
So those people I mentioned.
That's
in
the one you
webway,
guys like
in
for
the
sure.
Super deranged cults and the depraved people of the Eldar. In the webway, they didn't quite get a hold onto them. Slaanesh like has them, but it has them on like by the pinky finger, and they're slowly being consumed by Slaanesh.
Nah.
But they
Ooh.
found out they can stave her off by doing Slaanesh things. The Dark Eldar
Okay,
are by
what's that
far
mean?
the worst, most horrifying, disgusting, depraved, and brutal race in all of Warhammer 40k. These are entirely a group of people whose full purpose to save their species from extinction, to go into planets, raid them, and take as many slaves as they possibly can to torture them for 1, 5, 10, 20, a million years, because that torture will keep them from dying. They look very
Wait, what?
BDSM style too. They definitely have a lot more spiky bits, and they have a lot more of that kind of leathery black look to them. But let's say you are an upstanding Imperial citizen, living life on a regular planet. You get invaded by the Necrons. The Necrons
It's
will
so
shoot you
BDSM.
with a deatomizer, and you will be destroyed in a millisecond, and that's it.
Oh,
Not the
that's
worst way to
fucked
go.
up.
You are invaded by Chaos Marines or something. You take a bolter shot to the head or a chain sword across your stomach, and you get cut in half. Painful, but not the worst. The orcs arrive.
Yeah, I
they
guess
beat you to death.
that's not the
Hurts,
word.
but you know, whatever. Tyranids, they eat you alive. It's pretty rough. The Dark Eldar. This is gonna get a little graphic.
Oh, wow,
Apologize.
he's got, like,
You
panties
pray
on.
you
Nice.
die. You don't. You are instead taken as a human slave. Your life will be endless work and agony, 24/7. They will make sure you can't not die, as your pain satisfies them. They will hook you up to all manner of torture devices. They will inject pain-based like stimuli drugs directly into your nervous system. They will slowly run razor blades across your skin. They will fillet you and just pull out your teeth and your fingernails one by one. They will remove your appendages and your skin and wait for it to grow back so they can do it again. They will murder and torture and use the R word, it rhymes with grape, your entire family in front of you and do the exact same thing to them. You yourself will also be rhymes with grape anywhere and everywhere possible. And this will occur for 20 years until you are no longer satisfying to them. And then you will be contorted, crushed, and twisted into some form of trophy, a fleshy trophy, or a ring, or a couch, or a TV stand, or perhaps a wonderful hat, while you are, of course, still alive and breathing. And you will become a moaning, fleshy trophy for eternity. And that is what happens when you are taken by the Dark Eldar. They are the most depraved, most horrifying race in all of 40k. They look the part, and they do it so they all don't die. They are literally forced to do this, because if they don't, Slaanesh's grip will get harder, and they will have their souls pulled away. So long as they keep doing this, Slaanesh is like, you're doing good, man. You're doing solid. You keep that shit up, you elf-eared bastards. That's the Dark Eldar. That's the Drukhari. They are horrible. On the tabletop, they're actually kind of like Eldar, but more extreme. They are even squishier than the Eldar, but they hit generally even harder. Fast attacks, skirmishers, really quick, speedy, like get around them, do a lot of damage, get away kind of stuff. That's most of the Dark Eldar. Look up the definition of Grim Dark in a dictionary. You'll find a picture of the Dark Eldar. And Sev from Public Commando. A quote from
I don't know
Mr.
what I
Vecht.
just heard, but like,
We are the lords of despair, masters of terror. Dread and agony are our meat and wine, and they are plentiful indeed. Dark Eldar. Let's talk about the Harlequins.
Oh, that
Clowns.
one's scary.
What's the matter, Andy? Don't you want to have some fun?
The Harlequins are a bizarre race of Eldar. They're demonic clown performers. They're like a weird mix of Sander Cohen from BioShock and Jin from League of Legends.
Not
but
Jin
in a
from
more
League of
clown
Legends.
theme. They're artists of death and perfecters of their craft. They do not belong to Craft Worlds or any of the weird Drukhari people. They guard something called the Black Library, which is this giant tome of never-ending knowledge deep in the heart of the Eldar Webway, and also guarded by their god named Kegorok, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He is the laughing god, but it's the Eldar's laughing god, and these are the Harlequins, the Harlequin clowns. These are Eldar clowns, okay? So imagine the things that an Eldar, these depraved individuals, would find funny. And this is the god of that. It's a horror clown. These are gods of horror.
Oh
for
my
us
god.
normal people. For
I just
them,
watched
they're
like
it's so funny. They're all
Terrorizer
dying
3,
horribly.
and I like have to shower with
They're
like
very bizarre
the door
and
open.
difficult to describe. They've escaped the ruinous powers of Slaanesh somehow, but their main thing is guarding that Black Library. And the Harlequins just... They're demon clown performers. They're barely any models on the tabletop.
I didn't know what it was. My friend was like, "You want to watch?" I was like,
They're
"Hell
demon
okay."
clowns. I'm not sure.
And then now I
got
like
quotes.
sleep with the light on.
It is too easy for an
and
Eldar
shower with
to
the door
embrace
open.
the obscene virtues of chaos. For Slaanesh is nothing more than a manifestation of the Eldar mind in its most wild and unconstrained form. Human morality is meaningless to the Eldar, and to the dark side of the Eldar mind, all life is to be expended at a whim. Cruelty and generosity are but the impulse of a moment. Beauty and sensuality are virtues that can be expressed in bloodshed just as easily as in song. To an unfettered Eldar mind, there is neither sanity nor madness, but merely a wave of perfect existence fulfilled by its own savage momentum. They're very strange. The Harlequins, Drukhari, Eldar, they are an anomaly that make humans seem completely easy to understand in comparison. They range from rekindling their civilization to horrifying murder and also clowns. They're all over the place, but honestly, they're represented quite well and are rather interesting, especially with the whole Slaanesh murder.
It's not jump scares. It's more like
Now,
what if someone like busted in the middle of the night and I'm not ready.
They're following me. These, the bugs.
The bug!
The Tyranids. Now, you want to talk something a little more fun, a little more simple than all this crazy Eldar shenanigans? Let's talk the Tyranids. They're bugs. Do they look like Zerg? Hell yeah, they look like Zerg. You want to know why they look like Zerg? Because they were actually supposed to be what Zerg were. Apparently StarCraft was supposed to be a 40k game in the beginning, hence why they look so much like Eldar, Zerg, and the Imperium of Man. Like, kind of Space Marine-y. Those Marines, huh? They look a little bit Space Marine-y to me. Maybe. I don't know.
Wait, Mac, thanks for the 100 gifted subs. Thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Mac.
Of
Why are you coughing?
proportions.
I'm
These
still
are giant,
kind of sick. I can't shake this cough. I don't know why. But thank you so much, Mac. Thank you.
Basically all
Let's
about
go.
absorbing
Thank
as much
you.
biomass as they possibly can to evolve and mutate to be
Stop
extremely
being sick.
potent
I
and
can't help
powerful
it.
and
America's
kill and
cold.
eat anything in their path. They are probably the least evil faction in all of 40k because all they want to do is eat shit. They want to nom the entire galaxy. They hangry and we food. Also, this Tyranid hive mind has a presence in the warp. In fact, Tyranids in their own right have a massive presence in the warp. They have a thing called the shadow in the warp specifically, where when they are coming in to invade a planet, they have this weird ability to kind of cut off the warp.
No, it's okay. We can wallow in sickness
and how
together.
do you get help across the stars? Well, you need the warp because you need that for interstellar travel.
It is so
with people
cold right
unable
now.
to call for help from the Tyranids, these are just easy pickings. And an entire giant Tyranid hive fleet comes out of orbit and just will massacre, absorbing all that biomass and turning them and all of their other Tyranids into even more advanced monsters. They come in so many varieties too, all based on what is important. Tiny little ripper
Tyranids
for
like
scouting and having little dudes.
Are Tyranids like a little less worse than everyone else? Because like I get why Tyranids are evil. They hangry, they hungry. Also, I paused it at a great time. Look at the position he's in. Yeah, they're bugs. They're like hungry, hangry. So you know them wanting to like nom nom makes sense. But like. Thank you, Mac. They want to kill everything. Yeah, like they're simple evil. It's not like
all the way to
it's not like oh fuck. Oh, I just hit my knee. Okay, it's not. Yeah, it's not like they're like oh yeah we're gonna kill you because of like human problems. So I'm hungry and I want to eat. You know, it makes sense. Checks out. Am I good?
Swarm war.
Emotionally, no.
And their
Physically,
giant
yeah.
battle fleets, and even something as crazy as the Hierophant Bio-Titan. The Tyranids come in all forms and sizes depending on what they require. They are extremely good at anti-biological weaponry. There is no way you can plague them or blight them. They have extremely strong armor, carapaces and such. Tyranids are nigh perfect organisms and are pretty spooky when it comes down to how they handle all of their genetic material. Keep feeding them, they'll keep evolving. They keep on creating new horrifying organisms to spread across the galaxy. And you know what the most terrifying part of the Tyranids is?
Going crazy.
We might be surrounded. There have been like around 6 or 7 Tyranid hive fleets, Behemoth, Kronos, all these different kinds of hive fleets, and they've all arrived in the galaxy from different points. Different sections of the Milky Way galaxy have had different Tyranids
America
come through.
cool, and I
that
die.
Is horrifying, because as far as we know, we could just be surrounded on all sides by Tyranids. The only reason you may not hear a whole lot about Tyranids is because it's a little bit hard to have a bunch of story off of
Jacob, thank you so much for the
genocidal
oh my
monsters.
god, hold up.
All
Jacob, thank you so much for the 50 gift subs. Thank you. Oh my god. I couldn't do the math for a second. Thank you.
One eye. You can't
Give
really
me like
have a
2
whole
seconds.
bunch
I have to take a picture of something for Nova like real quick. I'm gonna run.
They want to eat you.
Can you bang your knee again?
They want to eat you and absorb your biomass. They are simple bugs. If you want something a little more complex, talk gene stealer cults.
I can have all the pot I want, I get around faster than walking, and wherever I need a seat, I can just sit on my balls.
Gene stealer cults are a special brand of Tyranid that can slowly infect themselves into different kinds of society. And by infecting them, they can rise up to where they all pray and believe in these regular humans, pray and believe into their Tyranid hive mind gods.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mac. Thank you, guys. Oh my
I
god,
think
what
they're
did
called
Log say this time?
all can turn an entire world all based into gene stealers, and these are called gene stealer cults. An entire world of the Imperium can be turned into nothing but servants to the Tyranid masters just by infecting them and screwing with their genetic code a little bit. They also have this cool like Mad Max look, which is really neat. They are definitely one of the bigger threats to the Imperium.
So their
besides
hits
Chaos.
became big. Oh my god.
Like the Imperium. They're up there though. because
Judge
you,
Ray, thanks so much
dingus,
for the
stepped
follow.
on a
Thank
bug
you,
in middle
thank you, welcome
school.
to the basement. Welcome,
Asshole.
welcome.
There is a cancer eating at the Imperium. With each decade, it advances deeper,
Congrats on the
leaving
high roll.
drained, dead worlds in its wake. This horror, this abomination, has thought and purpose that functions on an unimaginable galactic scale.
That's what
And
my
all we
boss
can
says
do
about
is
me.
to try to stop the swarms of bioengineered monsters it
That's
unleashes upon us by
exactly
instinct.
what
We have
my
given the
Glitch Stars
horror a
bio
name to
says.
salvage our fears. We call it the Tyranid race. But if it is aware of us,
What do I say?
it must know us. We
Oh,
call it stop the swarms.
This horror, this abomination has thought and purpose that functions on an unimaginable galactic scale of stupidness. That's what he says.
Bioengineer monsters it unleashes upon us by instinct. We have given the horror a name to salvage our fears. We call it the Tyranid race. But if it is aware of us,
He
it
said,
must
yeah,
know
sounds
us as
about
nothing
right. Fuck.
but prey. Tyranids.
Thank
They're
you
cool.
guys for the gifted subs.
But I think it's cool as the
I
orcs.
love you guys. Thank you so much.
That means I'm super fast.
Orcs, 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 orcs.
Orcs, 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 orcs.
Love orcs. So, yes, the green monsters, the green tide, the green skins. These orcs, they are in fact a race in 40K. The orcs are as exactly what you expect them. They have archaic weapons, they're big boys, they have axes, and they have got big old teeth, and they want to kill everything, and there are so many of them. The only reason they haven't taken over the entire galaxy is they can't stop murdering each other. Orcs are so cool. Orcs don't have philosophy. Orcs don't have existential crisis. What matters is who's the biggest orc. You listen to that guy because he the biggest orc. He big orc. Big orc knows best. You win through the power of
He big
imagination.
orc.
Of all the races I have battled throughout the galaxy, the orc is the hardest to comprehend. They wage war with machines that should not work, care little for strategic gains, and are just as likely to slaughter each other as the enemy. How does one battle an enemy that defies all logic? As an orc, you're enjoying life. You're enjoying the life you're given. Your whole life and job and purpose is to get up and beat each other to death because you can. The biggest orc is the man who understands everything. He is the boss. And orcs have this really weird, like, big, dumb, stereotype British accent, which is just
Not
hilarious
them having
to
a
me.
British
Those
accent.
are orcs.
Yeah,
you
it's pretty
fight.
fun
You like
so
to
far.
fight. Your whole purpose is to fight.
I enjoy
because you want to wage war.
streams
You
like
got your
this 'cause,
boss
like, I
over
get to
there,
understand
and you better listen
new
to the
things.
boss, because if you don't listen to the boss will squish you and make you an example for the other orcs, and then you can't fight because orc dead. And orc dead can't fight because orc dead. Orcs. They scrap together machines out of parts that don't make any sense, and because they believe, they have the mental imagination that that machine will run, it'll run. If that machine's out of gas, you're driving that machine with your fellow
Not the
orcs,
dual
and
locks
the biggest
gifting
orc is
us
behind the wheel,
sub
and you run out of gas, someone behind you like, oh,
like
oh, Zod,
151
we're out of gas.
Dalmatians.
And the big orc is like, no, we're not. I filled
Hold
the
on, today is the
gas
day.
tank up
You have to,
earlier,
like-
and all the other orcs are like, oh
You-
yeah.
you have to do your
we
gacha
did
rolls
do that.
today.
And then
You
you
lucked
turn
out,
the
brother.
fucking mech back on, and it works again. Does it have
I kind of
gas?
love that orcs
Probably
are Mad
not,
Max.
But it works. The power of imagination.
He did something
They
nice. And he
paint
did
things
nice to
red
you,
'cause it
Bodot.
makes
You have to,
them think
like,
it
do
goes
your
faster.
gacha
They
pulls
paint
today.
things purple because it's the sneakiest color. You want to know why? You ever seen a purple orc? Didn't fucking think
I don't
so.
know which
Orcs are
faction I
also
like.
ancient
They're all
as
kinda
hell. They're back in
terrible.
the Eldari time frame. But back then they were called Krorks, and they were much larger and scarier.
How's the
and
gems
far
don't
more
rip,
intelligent.
bestie?
Now they're just orcs, and they're big, dumb. and they smack
151's
things,
Pokemon.
but
Oh,
they're pretty
it's 101
they're not very
Dalmatians.
well armored,
Oh,
but they hit
yeah, they're
really
all like
hard.
kind of
And
terrible.
it's called the Green Tide
I
because there are
couldn't
so
say which one I
many
like.
orcs. There are about as many
They're
orcs
all
as there
bad.
are Tyranids. Maybe more. Who knows? But they keep on, murdering each other, so it's not too bad of an issue. Orcs are entirely comic relief. Their stuff
Okay,
is
maybe I like
slapped
orcs.
together. That makes no sense. Their vehicles don't work the way they're supposed to, but they work
Maybe I
because
like
they
orcs.
think it works because they imagine that it works. orcs care only about who is the biggest orc, and they will follow the biggest orc. And then if they want to be the biggest orc, they'll challenge the biggest
Low-key,
orc.
that's like
And then
that's
when
me,
they go
bro.
and they issue a wa is just war in orc. They murder everybody and everything in this giant tide of green orcs who are just excited.
No female orcs?
To be
I'm not saying
hitting
I wanna
something.
be
They
one.
don't
I'm
care
saying I
if
like
they're
them.
hitting Eldar or the
What?
Imperium or Tau or anyone in between. They're just so they get to beat shit up. That's orcs. And on the tabletop, they are a total coin flip, and they're really fun. I have never met a salty orc player. I have never met someone who plays orcs and is ever just a bad guy or that guy. Orc players have this kind of fun to them because when you play them, you are completely submitting yourself to RNG. So here's the thing. Imperial Guardsmen, when they shoot, they roll a dice, and on a 4 up, they'll hit their target. They have a 50% chance. Space Marines, pretty good. They hit on a 3 or higher because they're well trained. Adeptus Custodians, they hit on 2s because they're just super well trained. Orcs, they hit on a 5 or higher. But if they roll a 6, they get to make another shot with anything. From the dinkiest pistol to the
like
biggest
an orgy, those
rocket
things
launcher.
that make no
It
sense,
doesn't
but somehow
matter.
it works
Half of
out.
their
That's
stuff
my
will blow up
fucking
on a
boss.
whim. One of their medics, if you roll a 1 to heal someone, you fuck up your surgery and you just kill an orc.
Damn.
They're so wacky and silly. But the thing is if you roll well, you roll high, and you keep rolling high, you are going to crush people. And if you don't, you lose. I mean, that's what you get when you play orcs. That's what happens when you play orc. It's a coin flip, which is why.
No,
you
apparently
can't be a
timer
salty
went down
bitch
because
when you
last
play
night I
orcs
forgot to like
because
pause the timer and I went to
things won't
sleep.
go your way.
My bad,
Just
lol.
to roll the dice. You're playing a dice game. But if you're gonna have fun and you want to be
So,
stupid,
we'll
and
have
you
to
wanna be
fix that
silly,
later.
You're gonna play some damn orcs. But on the opposite side of the fun part of this, let's talk about the Necrons.
Don't worry, it's not an insult. I understand in my soul. I
The
understand.
Necrons are spooky, scary skeletons and very grimdark again. They have a much more fleshed out lore than before. Back in the day, they were just undead Egyptian space terminators, and they still look that way, but now they actually have a story. So way back in the day, you had the Necron tier. Kind of see a theme here: Eldari, Eldar, Krork, Orc, Necron tier. So the Necron tier,
I like them.
were
I
this
think they're
race
kind of
of
goofy.
Generally,
and if they're goofy, that's like
kind
fire.
of shitty people. Not because they were personally shitty, because their lives were awful. They were ill-fated to a horrible existence of like radiation and a terrible planet they lived on, and everything just really sucked. Being a Necron tier was just really depressing. They really were looking for immortality. They were extremely reliant on the hope that they would eventually find the key to living forever and just stave off this horrible nature that they were thrust upon them, and therefore they could become the most dominant race in the galaxy. And they found this group. They're called the Old Ones. Imagine them kind of like the Forerunners in Halo or the Xel'Naga in StarCraft, right? These Old Ones were these strong, pretty much omnipotent beings, and they, of course, knew the key to immortality. So the Necrons went to them and said, please,
I
show
told
us
Leah
your ways.
once that Mio did nothing
the old
intentional
one
and girl
said,
so must succeed anyways.
piss off.
I still don't know
Not
how
really,
it
they were a
happened.
lot
I'm
more
not gonna
about
lie
that,
to you.
but
I
they
still
did not
don't
want
know.
to share their secret of
I
immortality
just, like, vibing.
with the Necrons. The Necrons, of course, took this
I wish.
very well.
Guys, why do you want a
I
Necron
wish
girlfriend? This sounds bad. This
Kind of under
sounds really
united
bad.
banner. The Necron different dynasties didn't really like each other. But under
Not
this one
this
man,
says.
the Silent King, he thought the best way to unite his race was to do this giant war with the Old Ones out of spite for them keeping the secret of immortality to them. This was known as the War in Heaven, and this
The
is actually
War in
the most safe
Heaven.
war because
Aw, thank
during
you,
this
guys.
War in Heaven, they
Not me
discovered
being an
the
orc.
Star Gods, a whole new race of people known as the Catan or the Catan. These Star Gods were also very much like Old Ones, almost omnipotent beings, and they too had the key to immortality. And so the Necrons went to them and said, "Hey, can you help us fight off the Old Ones? Can you help us kill these Old Ones, you, the Catan?" And the Catan said yes. And in fact, we can help provide you with the immortality you so desperately seek. So the Silent King of the Necrons decided to make a pact with the Catan to allow them to accept this generous gift of immortality upon them. But this, of course, had been a horrendous trap, and the Necrons were dragged in chains to this biotransference where their flesh was stripped from them, replaced with nothing but a metal hollow shell, as their souls were ripped from their body and fed to the Catan. And the Catan
I'm confused.
up. They got chonk on the souls of the Necrons. As this was their plan all along, they consumed the flesh and souls of the Necron tier and turned them all into unwilling robotic slaves just to serve their will. And then, with their new-founded Necron army, they pointed their guns at the old ones.
That does not sound good.
Their domination of the stars and their genocide, complete and full
Congrats,
genocide
Jeff.
of these old ones. The old ones did their best to stave it off. They even created other races, the Eldari and the Orcs, to try to fight off the horrifying Necron army and the Catan above them. But there was absolutely no
Orcs
possible
are
chance
meant
for them.
to be
And the
okay.
old ones were absolutely extinguished across the galaxy. Their entire race completely removed.
Oh, 7!
100% genocide. However, during all this, the Catan, so just infatuated with their victory, started fighting each other for fun, for sport, and for small differences, doesn't matter.
Wait,
the Catan with these
what does this guy look like? Oh, he looks like the Yu-Gi-Oh card. He looks like the Yu-Gi-Oh card!
these overpowered people, they're going to eventually hit each other at some point. And as they began just menially fighting each other,
No,
the
he
Eldari
doesn't.
and the Orcs actually started pushing
Celtic
on the
Guardian's like
Catan
head
a
is
little bit,
shaped
giving them a
different.
little
He's
bit
got
of a
that
run
like
for
whole
their
like
money. And
spiky
as this
bit.
continued, this is when the Silent King, who retained his consciousness, decided to leap into action and start a full-scale revolt against their Catan masters. And this revolt was
It's an LVK
bloody,
joke?
as
Oh.
the entire Necron army was surged off to destroy these star
I'm sorry,
gods.
I'm not
They were
privy to
able
the LVK
just after
jokes.
suffering horrendous
I'm a
losses,
casual-
were able to
I'm a
turn the tide
casual
of the
LVK
war.
enjoyer.
And they took these Catan and they blasted them. 'Cause
We're
as
reacting
these star
to
gods are
the
unkillable,
Warhammer
they
lore.
were able
It's just
to
very
break them into
confusing.
thousands of shards and entrap them in giant stasis vaults.
Gotta subscribe to
now
Daddy.
actually
I
be
am subbed to
slaves
him.
To the Necrons. And with the Necrons,
I need
having the
to watch more.
entirety
I need to
of their
watch
old
more-
gods
what is
enslaved
it?
to them, they realized
review.
that soon their race was about to be attacked by the overcoming new races, the Eldari and the Krorks. And so what they did is they retreated into giant stasis
Is Celtic
tombs
Guardian?
in order to preserve their energy and their strength for when one day they would be reawakened and they would be able to rule the galaxy.
looks like the
that
Star
was
Wars
rightfully
guy.
theirs. And then some dingus Adeptus Mechanicus guy diddled with a green console, and now the Necrons are back,
Oh.
and they see all these primitive races on their lawns, and they think, get the fuck off of it. The Necrons are back.
Not to get the fuck
super
off my
advanced,
lawn.
and they are here to reclaim the galaxy that they so rightfully believe is theirs.
Okay, wait. If
And on
Necrons
tabletop,
are like
they're
the
all like
most
that.
advanced,
Tons
are they
of
like kind of
undead
the
Egyptian
coolest?
skeleton robots that when they die, they just get right back up because they keep on reanimating. Hard to kill, tons of crazy stuff. You can use the Catan themselves as units to fight with. It's pretty cool. The Necrons are one of the three major events in 40k. The Horus Heresy, the Fall of the Eldar,
But are they
and the
hot?
Awakening of the Necrons.
Are they
all
hot
pretty
men?
substantial events. And the Necrons themselves are pretty dang cool as well. Here's a good quote from a wonderful Dawn of War game. Lucky creatures, as long last you have found the tranquility of death.
The
I was
robot
like you
skeletons?
once,
Oh, okay,
clinging to
I fuck
life
with
and
that a little
blind
less
to the
then.
truth. When I uncovered the truth, I too shuddered and paled with fear. Deep in these catacombs, I was remade. Here, my brethren slumbered for eons while the living grew like weed. My Lord knew this day would come. He had plans for us all. We would purge this world once more. So come, poor victims of life. We will grant you tranquility in these crypts. Kronos will be a tomb world once more. Necrons are also pretty smug. Trazen the Infinite especially, a little dickhead. But
Damn.
speaking of dickheads, last race, let's talk the Tau.
We made a fucky wucky.
The exact
Not the we
formation
made
of
a-
the Tau
we made a
Empire is
fucky
not
wucky.
entirely understood. However, a long time ago, many thousands of
I
years
heard
ago,
kids that came
in
running.
the
No,
40K
we weren't
world, that
summoning
is, some
you. We're
Imperial
talking about the
navigation
Tau.
vessels were going around through different areas, and they saw a primitive race, blue people, smacking each other with sticks and stones. They thought, nah, dumb Xenos race, who gives a shit, and they bailed. Then this giant warp
What?
storm
Hi,
occurred
before?
right in that major area, unable
I
to
love
be
her super
reached.
duper hate.
Then,
Okay.
once that warp storm 6,000 years later subsided, hello, those little sticks. Well, they decided to actually have no war of any kind and all just unite together under one flag of the Tau Empire. And now they have gigantic starships and Gundam robots and lasers and railguns and mechs, and they are here to ruin your day for the greater good. That is generally the Tau Empire. They have this kind of feeling of this homogenous group. All species can go underneath the banner of the greater good. The greater good is their idea of the fundamental increase and help of all. In fact, they are most likely the most like the Covenant in Halo, where they have the overarching prophets, being the ethereals, who are actually kind of dicks and like to pull at strings a little bit, but then you have all these different races.
Oh, they're the
directly
closest to the
underneath
good
them,
guys.
and they all
So they're
work
a little
together
fucky
in this
wucky.
big group as this large, foreboding race that tries to spread their weirdly pseudo-religious
The fact that the
influence
humans
across
are
the
evil-
galaxy. The alien is not intrinsically evil. Do not hate him.
Is
pity him, his ignorance.
Interesting,
Seek to
because like you know how
understand his
usually
differences
humans
and
like
equate
in
him
most like
with
media
his
humans are always like the good
inadequacies.
guys.
Only then will he accept his place in the greater good. That is generally the Tau. And if you're kind of
Aw.
wondering like what their
Space good
mainly
guys.
big shtick is, well, they're all about big robots and mechs. They have laser rifles and rail guns. They got giant mechs with tons of missile pods and heavy rail
Oh my
rifles
God,
and
it's
rail
Gundam.
guns and burst cannons and ion accelerators and void shields and all this stuff. And that is generally what the Tau's all about. But you're probably thinking, but Bricky, this doesn't sound that evil. This doesn't sound very grim, dark Warhammer. And you'd be right. The Tau Empire really don't have that much of a horrifying, grim, dark style like
That's
everybody else. They're
good.
much more younger, new
Orcs.
age thing. In
Orcs
fact,
are
they're probably a
funny.
lot less evil and a lot even better than they are now back in the day, because they liked having like that good guy faction. But a lot of us who really like the dark, depressing style of Warhammer, they don't really
Damn.
like it that much. So, see, the Tau get a lot of hate, and a lot of that hate isn't necessarily unjustified. It's mainly from a tabletop perspective, but as you can see from all the visuals I've shown you recently, they don't really fit in the 40K universe very well. They lack that super dark, dramatic, kind of high gothic level that
I
Imperium has. They don't
guess.
have the weird kind of like grungy stuff that Chaos or say the Orcs do. And the Necrons and the Eldar have their own specific style as well. The Tau really do look like something out of Gundam. And while it isn't necessarily a bad thing, it does definitely not fit too well. There's that. There's also the tabletop
I have been
problem.
good bees.
In tabletop, Tau are horrible at melee combat, but exceptionally good at range combat. So they blast everyone from really, really far away, and they have
Okay.
a million rules to make it so that it's nearly impossible for you to get into melee combat. So it basically just forces you to bottleneck the game into one specific gameplay style, which is gun to gun. And if you're doing gun to gun, they're going to win every time, because they're the Tau, and the Tau are really damn good at shooting. So
Bye,
it's one of those
Alchemist.
things that
Yeah,
make
they're
the
not
Tau
evil and
generally
fucked
rather
up.
hated, and a lot of different reasons for that, both from style and such. But this is actually one of the things I wanted to end this video with, is that the Tau, while they have their issues,
Sweet Tau and purple
you should
pigment,
not be
that's
discouraged from
iconic.
playing them. I'll make plenty of Tau weeaboo jokes, of course I
Mr.
will.
Bunny,
but it's
thank you so
all
much for the
generally in good
follow.
fun.
Thank you.
Anyone who
Welcome to
legitimately
the
doesn't want you to
basement.
play a
Welcome.
faction is an idiot, and you shouldn't be giving them the time of day. You pick what you think
They
is
mind
cool
control people
and
in
what
other
you
races. They're
like.
lesser of
In
evils. I
Warhammer,
guess. I
especially now,
mean,
factions
like
get better
as
and
long
they
as
get
you're not
worse.
that
They
fucking
grow
like dark
and then they
elf.
fall. You should
Race,
only
I
be
think it's
playing what you
good.
think is cool. You like the look, you like the models. If you're talking tabletop, that is what you should be going for every time. Is what you think is badass, because things change all the time.
It's like
but the
it's
universe
like
of Warhammer
it's like
has so
dipping
much
your
going
toe
for it. Every
into
faction
like
has something interesting.
a ton of
Every
like
character
bad
has a
things,
story,
you know?
and there's a million stories to be told. The universe is vast and exciting, and while it is dark, depressing, and horrible, that is the damn charm. And out of everything I've told you in these 2 videos, is anything you could take away is the reason why so many of us are so into this series and why we like it.
If there's
so much.
one that I don't
Because
like, it's the
with so
one
much
where it's
variety,
women with
such
like the
an
weird
expansive
hair.
universe, and so much that can be done, you can find yourself having a pretty great time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it has been informative to you.
It's the,
If you'd like
it's
to
the
see
one
more
that
of
with
me,
the
Bricky,
weird
you can
hair.
Twitch.tv/Bricky for my streams. You
You're
have
like
my
the Sisters of
merchandise site,
Silence,
in
yeah.
which I was wearing all of my merch, but underneath this, because I had to wear this so it wasn't black or white for the green screen, which is a little unfortunate, but it's fine. If you'd like to see merch, it is in the description. Also, if you'd like to support me on
Hating on their hair. Their hair's so weird. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Oh, this is 4 years ago. Okay, so I guess we are slated for like a more for something new then, huh? So there is like a video I wanted to watch.
Welcome back.
It's not this one.
Welcome back.
It's not that one. It's this one.
Hey guys, Paul here. So today
I don't know why I opened it in full screen. I'm an idiot. I fixed it so that it'd be like perfectly sized, but then I opened it in full screen. Okay. I kind of want to watch this because I saw people reacting to it, and I wondered like, what does this even mean? The loss of the mid-core Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Hey guys, Paul here. So today I wanted to talk about a Yu-Gi-Oh phenomenon that I have been observing a lot more in the last couple of years. It's something that I also alluded to on Twitter, but I felt like bringing it to a full discussion in a video.
What is a
thing.
mid-core?
So basically, it's the sort of loss of the mid-core Yu-Gi-Oh player. And what I mean by that is this. So competitive Yu-Gi-Oh right now actually feels like it has kind of hit a bit of a fever pitch. Like, people seem to be really enjoying, grinding the competitive YCS scene more now than ever. I see a lot of videos that are, kind of these niche, nitty-gritty, getting into the highly incredible specifics of like combo lines, where to use hand traps, things like that. And people seem to be enjoying the Malice and Ryziel format. And for the players that travel to these YCS events, playtest rigorously, they can afford the best cards, and that's not really an issue for them. They seem to be really enjoying competitive Yu-Gi-Oh right now, and this is good. I want to be clear that I think that this is a good thing. They're having fun with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's
A
great.
healthy
I'm not
competitive
saying
scene is
there's anything
always
wrong with that.
a good
On the
thing.
other end, you've also got a lot of people who recently have been embracing older formats. Things like GOAT and Edison format come to mind. Some people also like to play Toss or Hat format as well. But basically these older snapshot formats. And you see it a lot, especially in content creation now. A lot more people are doing, some sort of a spin the wheel, wheeled GOAT, wheeled Edison. It's kind of expanded to include things like cubes and draft as well. And again, that's really cool.
Edison,
Getting
our
to
best
sort of
format.
take a dive back into these nostalgic old Yu-Gi-Oh times is great. There tends to be a lot of sort of popular viewership among casual and nostalgic fans there. So if you're a content creator, that's great. We did our Retro Rivals series with the Retro Pack, and that was a lot of fun. And
Old
you see a lot
formats
of
are honestly
content
really
from
great
that end of the
for like
spectrum as well.
content.
But what it feels like there isn't a lot of is a lot of interest and sort of almost maybe support for the mid-core Yu-Gi-Oh player, I call it. What is the mid-core Yu-Gi-Oh player exactly? Well, basically, this is this player who, they've played Yu-Gi-Oh for a really long time. They play at locals most weeks. They've been to a few regionals, and they do want to win, but they also kind of want to win with their favorites. They get enthusiastic or excited about anime decks or just some of their favorite decks getting new support. And even if their favorite deck isn't like super duper YCS level viable, they still want to do the best they can with it. And they want to find content about that. They want to find places to play those decks. And what I'm basically finding is happening is that these players have been sort of neglected a little bit. and are now migrating to other card games or just quitting Yu-Gi-Oh in some cases. So this past weekend, we went to Bandai Card Games Fest. It's basically the nationals that they have for all the different Bandai games. That's One Piece, Union Arena, Digimon, Battle Spirits, and I feel like I'm forgetting something else. Dragon Ball, Super Fusion World. And so basically, like,
When
a
we
lot of
quitting
people we met
Yu-Gi-Oh?
there
Probably
were really big
never.
fans, and that was cool. And they would oftentimes tell us, you know, hey, I'm a really big fan of you guys. I don't like play Yu-Gi-Oh
This is
anymore, but I
this
still
is probably
watch your
us.
content.
Damn.
And that's a nice
I mean, no,
compliment
as
to
you
hear, but it
guys,
is
you
a
know
little
I'm
bit
sweaty.
worrying because it means that these are players who in some way or another got burned from Yu-Gi-Oh or just disinterested, and they migrated to a card game that they maybe feel better suits their needs. So
I get where he's
what
coming
are
from,
these
though.
needs exactly? Well, I go to a lot of conventions as it happens, and
We're
I go to
watching
them
the
almost, I'd
loss
say,
of
like,
the
more than I
mid-core
go to
Yu-Gi-Oh
YCS events
player.
now. I go to, you know, your New York Comic Cons, your Anime Expos, DreamCon, stuff like that. I like meeting fans
the
and just
PB
other like
people.
card game players at these events and talking to them and getting kind of their real lived experiences with Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever else. Like, why did they quit Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, why do they, you know, enjoy my content sometimes, but still like they don't really enjoy playing Yu-Gi-Oh? And some of the reasons that I oftentimes hear are things like getting priced out of the game,
Yeah.
the power curve of the game, just kind of leaving their favorite decks behind. Maybe they quit because of pendulums or link monsters, or, you know, it's just something to do with Konami, right? There's a bunch of different things people will say about that. And I think that all those reasons are fairly valid to varying degrees. Like, this is gonna, of course, you know, from person to person, people quit at different times for different reasons. I'm not saying it always falls
I
in
get
one of those
that, and I
four
feel that
categories.
strange.
There could be other reasons why somebody might quit. But I think that what Yu-Gi-Oh seems to kind of have really lost at the end of the day, this is just in my opinion, you can weigh in, is it's just lost the middle ground. It feels like we are no longer, there's no longer space for the player who just wants to play. Here's an example I've been giving, Six
Okay.
Samurai. They recently got support in Rage of the Abyss. And it was some pretty cool support cards, right? A couple new synchros and like other things like that. And they're even going to be getting more support cards in the next couple sets. But the thing is, Six Samurai don't fit into either of the camps that I described earlier.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, Six Sams aren't really going to be beating Malice and Ryziel. I know that you can optimistically speak and say like, oh, well, maybe the perfect Six Samurai player can do it. Sure, cool. But I think that for the average player, that it's kind of accepted and known that like Six Sams aren't going to be winning the next
Yeah, they're
YCS.
not.
Also, though, Six
I
Sams
actually
can't be
completely
played
understand
in
where he's
Edison
coming
format,
from.
right? These new Six Samurai cards. So if you're sort of this mid-core player and you're excited about the new support for Six Samurai, or maybe recently Madolche or something like that, what do? Right? Like, it feels like less and less content is being made around these decks. Like, you don't really see as many deck profiles. There's not really as much enthusiasm for these cards when they come out. A lot of times when people are buying Rage of the Abyss, they're looking for the most expensive cards, right? They're looking to pull a Dominus Impulse or a Moltres Army Fuwalos, you know, the expensive secret rare. And like, I think back and I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of always been this way to some degree. Like, there's always been an expensive $100 secret rare card. So then I think, okay, what's changed now? What's different? And I think what it is this sort of weird late stage Yu-Gi-Oh, I almost want to call it. That was actually a video I wanted to make as well, which is like, people aren't really opening packs to just get cards and trade them. They're opening packs specifically to get the cards they need.
Yeah.
There's a lot more information and knowledge out there.
I don't
so,
think
like, decks
trading card
optimized
games
out
are
the
really
gate.
trading
Oftentimes
card
we kind of
games
know what the best
anymore.
stuff is going to be. And also, there's less trading because people are not as interested in buying sealed product and opening it and then like maybe trading some of the ultra rare Mermail or Six Samurai cards or Shark cards that they pulled in Rage of the Abyss. They just want to get their Fuwalos, get their Impulse, and they will buy it if they need to. Or if they are interested in building those other decks.
I just feel like, right? It's always been that way. The thing about it is that in most games, it kind of is like that, but the power creep is too big, where it's hard to bridge the gap. Cause like, remember, years ago, what's his name? Cien won Street Fighter 4 with Rose. Someone who was like so like mid to bottom tier, but he won the tournament, beat out all the fucking Kens, beat out all the fucking Ryus, right? You can't really do that with Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, you can't really do that with Yu-Gi-Oh. The gap between like a really like a mid tier deck versus something that's top tier, right? it's just so different. Yeah, and the power creep is gonna get higher and higher because they need something that'll counter the existing strong deck. They need something to get over that bit. You know? It's just gonna get stronger and stronger, and then you're gonna have stuff like Six Samurai, Sous Ships, all that shit being left in the back. Yeah. You can win. It's just really, like, really, really hard, and it's really rare. Like, I could, you know, just, yeah, rip the Numeron Bozo at your locals, yeah. I could, like, be like, oh, yeah, I'm very optimistically gonna win against Tenpai with, like, Sous Ships. But that's only if the Tenpai player bricks. And I have, like, a billion fucking hand traps. You know? It's, like, the difference in, like, the power creep is just too difficult. That it's, like, it's a bit... I wouldn't say it's unrealistic. It's just a bit too difficult. It's just a bit too difficult. Like, I'm not gonna lie. If there were, like, a random, like, upset. Like, remember when when Jeff Leonard won against, I can't remember what, with his, like, Exodia deck. If there's, like, a random upset like that, it's such a fun thing to watch. But it's so rare. You know? It's so fucking rare. I completely get exactly where he's coming from. And no matter what, no matter how much you love a deck, everybody has a limit to which they can, like, stomach, right? When it comes to losing. I would happily play Sous Ships forever. Yeah, like when Jess won the YCS with Plants, yeah. So I would happily, like, you know, walk into like a YCS and try to cope as hard as I can with Sword Soul, right? For like years and years and years. But eventually it'll get to a point where it's like, okay, the deck that I love sucks. And I hate losing. So, you know? I feel like aiming for a YCS, honestly, is a bit unrealistic for your average Yu-Gi-Oh player, right? Because it's kind of like the same logic as when, like, people play, like, a video game and they try to turn pro. It's unrealistic. Not even the initial startup costs are stupid. It's just, you're happy to be like, okay, let's put it in League terms. If I play League, I'm happy to get to Challenger, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, dude, you're gonna catch me fighting Faker, you know? I'm happy reaching, like, the highest tier, but I'm not gonna fucking, you know, I'm not gonna fucking 1v1 Faker or anything like that. You know what I mean? If I play League, I'm never okay, fine. What's a different like thing that we can talk about? Aram is superior. Aram is superior. Like, if I'm playing it just for like just to be happy, you know, there are things like Aram that I can play where it's less stressful and I still get like my League experience. I still get like my League of Legends like game experience. You know? I still get it, but it's on it's on like a more enjoyable scale. It's less sweatier. I get to play what I want without like one of my teammates being like, "Hey, switch off of that to like, hey, pick Vayne, pick easy." You know? Like, yeah, Pokemon is probably one of the better games where you can kind of play whatever you want and still get like a relatively good experience. The thing about Yu-Gi-Oh right now is that there's only like really like two paths, right? either you play it specifically for nostalgia. You cope and play your Edison decks. You love your Edison decks. The thought of a hand trap makes you sick. You don't play that shit. Okay? You only want to play your nostalgia decks. That's fine. Or you go hyper sweaty. There's no other real avenue to like enjoy, you know, to enjoy your pet decks. But at the same time, it is anyone can just go to like a locals. You know, anyone can just go to a locals and play. But there's no way to predict that the person you play against at a locals isn't gonna pull out the sweatiest motherfucking deck known to man. Also, so then that also kind of kills your vibe because I'm just here to play, you know, Sword Soul. I'm just here to enjoy. But then I play against like fucking Malice Rizel at like my locals, and I'm like, ugh. And the next guy is also playing that shit, and I'm like, ugh. And then the next guy is playing fucking Stun, and I'm like, ugh. I'm going home because this isn't fun. So it's like, I don't know. I honestly feel like one of the things that Master Duel needs to do is they need to create like a casual mode. And I know they did. I know they created like an unranked mode, but they need to ban like the top, like, okay, they need to ban certain decks from appearing there. That would be a little bit more fun. You know? That would be a little more fun. But as of right now, the only way to really like ensure something like that is to go to like fucking viewer duels or like duel rooms, you know? So it's called a rookie. Hey, I played against so many lab decks in rookie when I was doing my fucking masochist challenge. They need to create like a mode, right? That bans like the top 5 or top 10 decks of the meta. That way I feel like I could go in, play fucking, I don't know, Magister and be happy because I actually stand a chance, you know? Lab isn't a good deck. Lab stun. It's always stun. It's always fucking stun. You'll still get people who just run stun. Yeah, which is kind of Magispector. No, what's the one with the hot guy? Like he's just really hot, you know. What do you think the 9th best deck is? I don't know. I barely know the top 5 best decks. I just know what I see in rank, and I know what I don't like. That's it. Magistus! Yeah, the hot guy with the red hair, you know? Like, even if you could guarantee me a mode, right, where I wouldn't have to meet fucking, you know, all the tenpai, all that bullshit. If you could guarantee a mode where I wouldn't have to meet the meta decks, I could still stomach a bit of stun. He's a floodgate, by the way. I know. Did you do your 150 squats yet? No, I'm sick. I can't do it today. Okay. Huntil, can you help me keep a tab on how many squats I gotta do? Isn't that like it is, but the thing about it is that they need to create a mode for it because custom duel rooms also kind of hinge on the fact that you trust the people you're playing against. You know, I don't want to trust the people I'm playing against. I wanna play in a mode where they have no choice but to abide by those rules. Are you always sick? Because the weather is so cold. I've been maxed out by the cold. I've been maxed out by the snow. You can leave just as soon as you see meta. It's just that like I don't want to have to leave at the same time. You know, I just want to be able to play what I like. You know? Yeah, basically I fell in the snow and like I got kind of sick. Yeah, honestly a little bit of an L. But yeah, I fell in the snow, got sick. After that, I don't know why. I don't know like what's mentally wrong with me. I'm fairly certain my mother just chucked me on the floor when I was a baby. But all that I packed for America, knowing full well it's winter, right? Were shorts, crop tops, and mini skirts. And a hoodie. Yeah. Because I'm stupid. I don't know. I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna be there for a while. I'm just gonna pack like the clothes, like the smallest clothes I have, so that like, you know, they don't take up too much space in my luggage. We don't have cold weather in Singapore. And then I went out and bought like a pair of like a pair of like sweatpants, and now I live in these things. And so now I live in these things, so I went and bought another pair. No, I wasn't going to LA. I was going to the Bay Area. So, you know, hey. Yeah, I'm gonna borrow a jacket from Nova. I was going to the Bay Area. But yeah, it's bad. I get where he's coming from though. Like, the people who want to play their pet decks have no appropriate place to play their pet decks. So yeah, anyways, that's why I'm sick. I'm stupid. It's all because my IQ is insane. I play my pet decks with myself. Yeah. Like, the thing about it is that
they'll just buy the single.
Yeah, it's just there's nowhere to actually play
going on. And like I said,
yeah,
the
and there's no
content kind of
trading.
seems to be skewing more towards the hyper-casual, nostalgic end of things. So what do you do when you
Is
are
stupidness
just a
contagious?
mid-core Yu-Gi-Oh
Probably.
player interested in these sort of middle-of-the-road decks, and there's nothing there for you? I don't wanna say that it's
Anonymous, thank
completely
you so
hopeless.
much for
Like, I
the
feel like there are-
Target gift card. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I put that on, because Nova and I want to go shopping. But thank you so much, Anonymous. I don't know who you are, but I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're from, but I will find you and I will give you a forehead kiss. Thank you, Anonymous.
There are still Yugi tubers and stuff who are making, you know, a deck profile for these things or kind of combo bids for
Oh
these
my
things.
God,
I don't
the deck
want to,
profile is
you know,
crazy.
say that that's not happening at all or sort
Mwah.
of discredit their work. It's just that it seems like
I'll buy a
some of the
jacket.
buzz around
I'll buy a hoodie.
lots
I'll buy
of
a
archetypes
jacket.
getting supported that I felt a few years ago. It felt visceral and tangible. It's not there anymore. And it's really
Yeah.
tough to describe. And so that's why I'm kind of putting this discussion out there because I think that you guys
What's an
tend to have
Udi?
a good way with words in the comments. Sometimes people
Would you
can,
want Suships to
you
be
know,
healing?
better,
No. I
just-
think
just
there are better decks.
Explain kind of
I
like
like
what
it,
is
but
that I
it's
feel
not
like
like
I'm
the
seeing,
be all
and I
end
wonder
all.
if it's something that other
What
people are
the
seeing at
fuck
their
is
card
an
shops.
Udi? This
Because
is
it does
so
lead
comfy
to
looking.
the bigger issue maybe, which is that Yu-Gi-Oh is sort of bleeding players to a lot of these Bandai games. They are oftentimes seen as more accessible. They are oftentimes a little bit more affordable. Sometimes they have like better pricing and things like that. But I think that just the general thing is that the mid-core Yu-Gi-Oh player feels more seen and more recognized, or maybe more cared for by these Bandai games, and it could also be Magic or Lorcana or something else. I'm
I
not
hope
saying
you
it's
guys
only
know
those,
now that I'm
but
just gonna
then maybe what
exist
Yu-Gi-Oh
in
seems
like
to be
a
giving
onesie.
them. So yeah, I want people to weigh in. How do you feel about this? Do you think that this is a problem? Like, what's changing here? What's caused it? I don't want this to be one of these videos where it's like, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh is dying, right? I'm not saying that Yu-Gi-Oh is dying or it's dead, but I think that it's a phenomenon where like Yu-Gi-Oh is changing, and I think that maybe Konami should be aware of this. Maybe they're planning something. I think that there's still need.
What deck would you use as a benchmark for casual decks? Only weaker or only equal or weaker than it's allowed? it would be Sword Soul. I think Sword Soul's kind of middle of the road if you ban. I think no, actually, you don't even need to ban Protoss. I think Sword Soul is very much middle of the road. The only reason why I say with the Protoss in it, it's still okay, is because I think it's not terribly difficult to out Protoss. Unless you're playing something like Branded. But in our hypothetical how to out Protoss, you bounce that bitch. Yu-Gi-Oh is dead. You and I both make money making content off Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh cannot die. We have to give the fucker CPR, bro. Yeah, you'd have to ban or limit certain board breakers. I think the thing about it is you'd have to take out the most oppressive decks. So Tearlaments, Branded, Tearlaments, Branded, Tenpai for sure. You know what? You know what's a very middle of the road deck? Exo Sisters. I think it's Exo Sisters. What Ulnar does with USL. I know Ulnar bans, like, Ulnar has like a really good ban list, which is why I'm always borrowing like her ban list. Exo Sisters pretty cringe as well. It kind of is, but at the same time, I don't think it's as like, okay, if I were to play against an Exo Sisters player, I wouldn't, it wouldn't elicit the same groan that I'd have if I were playing against like fucking Tearlaments. It's like, okay, go into a game. Exo Sisters, fine. Tearlaments, ugh. You know? Even Nerf Tier, yeah, Nerf Tier is also annoying. The thing about Tier that I don't like is that it just takes so much fucking time. That's it. Yeah, their monster it turns off the grave is cringe, yeah. They're not, I think the thing about it is that, right, there's always gonna be like a card that's annoying. Like, think Suships has got the Uni card, the one that like is basically like a Omni negate, and it negates for like the whole game if your fucker is like on the field. So if I can get the Gunkan Uni out before any of the, I wouldn't say Suships is good. I mean, it's pretty. I like it. But I don't think that they're terribly good. Yeah, if a deck doesn't do something a little unfair, it's pretty much unplayable. So it's like, if we put that into consideration, right? You know, I think that like we all need to internally take an L. We all need to internally, honestly, take an L. Because every deck is gonna be unfair. It's just how much of it we can stomach, you know? Like, even stuff like, what is it? You know, the whole gift card, bad reactness to Mochi thing? Like, I wouldn't say it's unfair if, let's say, they were going second, right? But it still kind of sucks. Like, I wouldn't say it's like the hardest like combo in the world, but it still kind of sucks when it happens to you. It still kind of blows if, like, you know, you get them like going first. Hi, honey, you wanna come up on my lap? Hi, baby girl. Good morning. Did you have a nice nap? Yeah? Come here, baby girl. You wanna come sit with me? Cat. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, baby, I can't play with you right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't play with you. Yeah, hi, Chat, say hi to Zoe. Come here, baby. Come here. You don't wanna? Okay, that's fine. You see, I can't talk to Nova like this, guys. That's crazy. I can't talk to Nova like this. It's just like, you have stuff like bad reactions to Simochi gift card where you're kind of like, oh, never mind, she's here. She's here. Hi, baby girl. Where it's just kind of like when you lose to it, yeah, it sucks, but like, is it also kind of unfair? I guess if like they set that shit up turn 1, but you know, is there like a real counter to that shit? No, you just tear the guy's fucking cards up, right? Hi, Jacob. Hi. Oh my god, Orca, Lorkpa. See, I still want to know who this person is, because like I know ish who you are, like, but like, you know, I know ish who I kind of know who you are, but at the same time I'm like brother, I don't actually know. Maybe I'm a clown. Nah. Yeah, the one card combo problem is the biggest issue. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing about it is that like, I feel like decks that are incredibly consistent annoy me, but at the same time, I too would play those decks. So, you know, it's kind of on me. Yeah, I like the fact that it's consistent, but it also annoys me because it's consistent. No, it's not that. It's like you know how like most of my decks, right? Because I'm kind of shit at deck building. Like most of my decks, you can kind of stop me if you Ash Blossom one time, or if you like Imperm one time. I'm like, okay, well, you know, that's it. That's my turn. I'm done. Pass. Go next. It's like the decks that like, even if I throw like 50 fucking like hand traps at, and they can still keep going. You know? Damn, that sucks. You know what I mean? That kind of sucks. Yeah, I know. I want to be able to do things too. Like it's not that I hate it. It's not that I hate it. Okay. Brother, if you said something, it is not showing up. But thank you. Thank you, Orca, for the Kofi Dono. Yeah, isn't exactly. Oh my god, why am I biting my tongue? Sorry. I think the problem isn't exactly just one card combos. It's extenders that are one card combos by themselves, like Diablo Star. Yeah, that's true. That is true. The fact that like there are cards that can do stuff like, you know, on the field from the hand in the graveyard, like, bro, pick a lane. Just like pick a lane, bro. Oh, you found it! Shout out to Neopalm. There should be a tournament based on the failed archetype videos made by the great Duologues. What if we had a tournament for that? You have to build a deck from one of the Duologues' failed archetype videos. Melodious with sweep? Oh, okay. I will cook with War. I mean, okay, if you guys are down with the idea, we could potentially cook it. But then if Melodious is sweeping, I mean, you know, that's kind of all whoever doesn't pick Melodious, I guess. With the new cards, I don't know. Is it out yet? Or gimmick puppets? we'd have to like make sure that it's like a. We'd have to make sure that like I don't know how we make it fair. To be honest with you, I don't really know how to make it fair. I think this is an idea that we'd have to like expand upon. We have to cook a little, but I'd be down. I think that's fun. I think that's funny. No, baby girl, if you stand on the mouse wire, how do I use the mouse? Gimmick puppets do things fair? No, I don't think so. Wait, I'll put some music on in the back so you guys can like hear it. You'd have to ban some of the videos because they were made before they got new support, like Melodious and Gen X. Okay, anyone who wants to play Melodious, rip, dude. Rip, bestie. Can't do that. The logs format. Wait, bestie. Can we do that? Can we cook on that idea? Yeah, no, there's always gonna be some fuckery. The only thing is that like we have to really be sure on like how much of the fuckery we can cut out, you know? Because no matter how good of a ban list we have, I think there's still gonna be like what is it? Someone like slipping in a floodgate or two, because like. I don't know all 30 cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I know there's more than 30, I just, you know. I know there's more than like 30 cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I just don't know how many Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards there are like in total. Just make a playlist with the allow archetypes. Okay, we're gonna cook on that. We're gonna cook on that. Mods, can someone write this down for me? Because right now I cannot use the mouse whatsoever. A certain baby girl is sitting on it. Oh my god, never mind, my boss is cooking. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't use my mouse right now. She's staring at me, but sitting on the mouse at the same time. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Not the suspicious link in the chat. Oh shit. Pick her up. I probably should, huh? I just feel bad. Like, you know, this is her house. And she's vibing. This is her house and she's vibing. Okay, oh my god. Yay, we can have a tournament, guys. Tournament day. We gotta figure it out though. I'm call in my Avengers. Avengers assemble! And it's just Ulner and Ashy. Okay, I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm gonna need you to move. Oh heck. Oh, be careful. Be careful, love. Okay. Waifu Alliance assemble. I know, we're calling in the homies. We're calling in the gang. It is time. That's such a fun tournament idea though. Thanks whoever gave like the whoever gave the idea. Oh my god. So like random ass like segue, but like the girls and I were like cooking a potential like event. And it's gonna be it's very stupid in theory. It's very stupid in theory, therefore it would be fun. Sounds horrifying? Nah. Okay, let's finish the video.
Like a mid-power level format where somebody can play new support cards for their Sharks.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Or the Madolche or whatever, because of
actually, if you really think about it, right? When new boxes come out and there's new support for different cards that are announced, but nobody cares about it because they only want the expensive cards, isn't that kind of sad?
those can't be played in Edison, but like still with a power level where they're viable and don't have to deal with like, you know, the current top tier decks. That's like one of the big things. There's other stuff too. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Could still use league systems. I still think the mixed rarity system can help with kind of enthusiasm around buying sealed product. But all in all, yeah, I don't want this to be like a Yu-Gi-Oh's dying, abandon all hope, jump ship. This isn't even me, to be clear. I'm not playing any of these other new like Bandai games and stuff like that. All right, like I still just play Yu-Gi-Oh pretty much exclusively, and I still like it. I like modern Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't mind like playing it, but I just think that these are. I've heard enough testimony now that it's a little bit worrying and maybe concerning. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And I need to go now because the sunlight is just blaring at my face over here, and I don't even know how I made it through this video, but
Bro,
I did. So yeah, weigh in the comments.
Buy
let me know
a
what you think.
curtain.
I'll see you guys in the next one.
Buy a curtain. Let's see. Remember Jesse Cotton stream and chat just absolutely roasting, shit talking his opponent's decks. As a mid-core player, that thing kind of really tunes me down. People just need to accept that others might want to experience the game differently for them. I agree, but I feel like if somebody like plays like really, really weirdly, I should be allowed to roast them a little. The orange light makes him look very handsome. You know, I do agree. It's the what do they call it? Golden hour, right? It's literally called golden hour, where like the sun hits your skin in a way where it like looks really nice, right? I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Yeah, enhances everyone. That's what it's called. Mid-tier formats are really needed at this point, as there's so many cards, and even new cards are good unless you compare in meta. Also, meta decks have gotten so strong, mid-tier decks don't even get to play the game. Most people just want to play. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So it's like they should create like a mode where it's easier for mid-tier players to like fight against other mid-tier players. Cause like if you were to tell me, oh yeah, go ahead, play Sword Soul, all of your opponents are gonna be Tenpai, I'd be like, ugh. For what it's worth, the ambiance with the orange sunlight in your face looks super awesome. Oh my god. Damn. What the Yu-Gi-Oh players with the Riz? He has a video series on trying to replicate on it, like but for decks. Oh yeah. Then Joshua kind of totally missed the point. Joshua? Like, who's Joshua? Is Labyrinth allowed in mid-tier? Labyrinth, no stun. Yeah. Why not? Labyrinth, no stun? Oh, what did he say? What was his reaction to it? Lab allowed with no stun and no nothing like the black gold last, nothing like what's the one where if it goes in the graveyard, you can use a what's it? You can use a trap card again. Roll back, yeah. Tough timing. I brought 3 Fire King structures and I played a Fish Runic player. We had 6 effects go off in 1 standby. Now I play MTG and I love it. See, I think that's kind of the issue though. Because like, I would say that Fish Runic, I don't know if Fish Runic is high tier enough to be like high tier level. But Fire King, I don't know if it's also like, I don't know. Okay, it sounds too good for mid-core, but also a little too weak for high tier. You know? Okay, here's the balance list. Okay, gamers, let's look. Let's see what the balance list is. That is the wrong, hold up. That is the wrong thing. Okay, let me see. Let's just paste. I keep clicking on it by accident. Ow. Okay, let's see. So in terms of okay archetypes for this tournament, you can pick whatever you want. Okay. Oh my god. If you guys didn't know,
Or it's equated
okay.
to 1 showing at a UDS invitation.
If you guys didn't know, right? Guess who edited this one? I watched like a bunch of them. I fell asleep to some of them. What the fuck is face cards? Yeah, there's 49 of them. Oh my god. Okay, Django, don't look. It's Cyber Darks are on the list. But you don't even like Cyber Darks. Oh my god, Counter Fairies. Bro, Counter Fairies, I tried so hard to make a deck from this in like Tag Force. BLS, Vampires. Vampires would be cool. Vampires would be cool. You know, vampires are cool. Dark Magician, not the Subaru version, not the Shuba version. Penguins. Oh my god. You know what? I guess who? Guess what?
Who doesn't
Guess
love
what?
seeing penguins?
Guess what?
Konami would make
guess
penguin
what, Jens?
cards
Guess
all
who
throughout
edited
Yu-Gi-Oh!
this?
And then eventually give it its own archetype. They were
Goddamn
even
right.
kind enough to make them accurate
So
to
if
real-life
nobody
penguins
plays
by making them the
penguins,
bottom of the food.
if no one plays penguins, like on fucking god, we are throwing hands, bitch. Heroics is here, Predaplants is here, Warrocks, or I can't say this one. This one's hard. I give up. The bear one. Silent Magician and Swordsman, Flame Valve, Morphtronics, Jurak, Miss Valley. Okay, Miss Valley, but no, what is it? Am I really? Okay, Miss Valley, but no Fluwanderies. Hey, baby girl. Okay, come up. Yeah, no Tri-Brigade. Apex Avian, yeah, look at the little fucker on the thumbnail. Red Eyes, but no Dragon Link, just Red Eyes. Yeah, no archetype card outside of these ones. So you really, if you're building Crystal Beast, you gotta full send the Crystal Beast, bro. Nothing to like make it to like zhuzh it up or anything like that. Toons! Oh my god, Toons would be funny. But the Spirit Monsters are cool too. Fuck. Yeah, Spirit Monsters are cool. I don't know what next is. Yeah, we need owner's help. Ice counters, God cards, Venom counters. Coin toss, that'd be cool. Oh my god, the level monsters. Remember when I tried so hard to make level monsters work, guys? Do you remember? I fucking love level monsters. I'm so mad. Can you play a pure Neo deck? Neospatian? Yeah. If it's Neospatian and you don't mind potentially losing, hell yeah. Does Fortune Lane need to be pure? Yes. Pure to like the best of your ability, as best as you can. Fish also has to be pure. But actually, would
Settings,
fish be
the
OP?
BJ9.
Cause like I can't handle fish with like, you know, any of my decks. Also Willy edited this one. Yeah.
Also summon a goodie with a different name from your hand, deck, graveyard,
Did you
or
just
banishment.
call it
The monster
goodie?
will be banished when it leaves the field.
Oh. No white cards? I don't know what white cards mean. Predaplant, DM, and Red Eyes is there, so Dragoon Turbo is technically legal. Oh my god, he's giving you guys the sauce. Mm-hmm. See, if we make the rule is it has to be pure whatever archetype. If it's pure that, if it's support, Does appliancer have to, everything has to be pure. Oh, white cards are fish support, non-archetype, so it's fine. Okay. We will cook on this. We will sit down and plan, because I don't know what is a. Oh, you can mix archetypes, but only from the list. It's Ancient Warriors. Ancient Warriors is not on the list on Fortnite. And you can use generic cards. No, you can use generic cards, but they have to be like the core has to be one of these archetypes. Or you can mix. Actually, yeah, you can mix. If you wanna cook something stupid like, I don't know, Counter Fairies, Fortune Lady, sure, why not? Max C is an archetype. Max C's banned. No Max C because that shit an archetype, bro. Oof. Rip, guys. Level monsters, Silent Swordsman, you know, mix that shit, brother. Have fun. But yeah, we'll probably cook on this. Like, this is an interesting this is kind of fun and kind of interesting. So hey, it would be entertaining. Ow, darling. You know, you're very cute. Would Cyber Dragon count for Cyber Darks? I don't know. No. Okay. Log says no. We will have a thing. You do kind of need them to make it work. I'm sorry, bro. Pick another one. Pick another one. Counter Fairy, Fortune Lady, like some kind of Fortune Fairy. True. Hi. Okay, never mind. You see, if you want to know why it's because he just said haha too bad. I don't know. We can. I don't even know if you guys can. I mean, I guess you guys. We could like open like a bang thing on the side, but like, hey, Cyber Dragons aren't a failed archetype. Of. They were mega successful. Of. I will go with the Demise of Penguins. You're trying to kill the penguins? That's fine. That's kind of fucked up. No Cyber Dragon, Cyber Dark. I will now no longer bonk logs. Django, how are you streaming this? I'm at my friend's house. I exist. We are talking about potentially having a tournament where it's only the only decks that are allowed have to be from like this list of failed cards and mechanics. Must be nice. I know, it's pretty nice. Tell your friend I say hi. I will. Yep. Okay, baby. Oh yeah, we're calling it the logs format. Why don't we call it failed cards, archetypes, and sometimes mechanics in Yu-Gi-Oh format? It's so windy. It's so long-winded. We'll just like call it like, I don't know. You can make Dragoon. You can make Dragoon if you want to mix and match. That's fine. If you want to mix and match, that's okay. The failed archetypes format, just call it the TDL failed archetypes format. Let's go. Failure Showdown. That sounds terrible. That sounds terrible, bro. The failure format. Vendred. I don't think she... Wait. Is Vendred on the list? Oh. Is it? Shino Baron is on the list, but like... It is! Oh, okay. You know what? Have fun, bestie. Have fun, besties, because, yeah, Assault Mode's on here, so... I think that's like the... assault mode is? Wait, which is a Union Monsters? Is that assault mode? No. Is it? No. Is it? I think. Yeah, okay. See my, oh, yeah. Thanks for looking at me. You're so cute. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not completely losing
In
my
early Arc
mind.
5, there
Now what the heck is Aqua Actress? Oh my god, someone needs to play this thing.
could instead bed by preventing your strategy and have Yu-Gi-Oh's history. There is modern era at the deck's main boss monster,
Someone
or
needs to
rather
play
the
this
closest thing the strategy currently has to a boss monster.
Witchcrafters are
Actress
a failure? Yes. Witchcrafters are a failure because even though they keep giving it support cards, right? The support cards are still not strong enough to actually stand up to like other decks in the current meta. Therefore, they're not that good. See? You know how I know? I edited the video. I listened to the dual logs say that for like a long time. That's how I know, because I edited the fucking video. That's how I learned Yu-Gi-Oh, bro.
Juana is a level 6 water aqua monster that stands at a reasonable 2,000.
If nobody plays this, I'm gonna be sad. You know what's so smart? Thank you for gassing me up. Thank you for gassing me up, bestie. It's not a side gig. I do it like I've only done it like 3 times, I think. Caveman Yu-Gi-Oh tier? Okay, but imagine if like the caveman wins though. Wouldn't that be like kind of crazy, kind of insane, kind of sicko mode? Wouldn't that be like actually like, oh my god. No, I've edited like a top 10 before. Yeah, I've edited a top 10 before. Okay, guys, I think I should end the stream soon because like my wife is coming home soon, and like I would very much like for my wife to have like bestie time. But let me see who is currently streaming. Oh my god, who is currently streaming? I think, how about, Bestie Hasher Brow? It's called Horror Duel for some reason. There's no elemental hero Neos in Ba Sing Se. Great. Yeah, it was fun talking to you guys. Okay, we will sort out this. Oh, is she home? I don't know. What does this mean, baby girl? Yeah, we'll sort out like more for the tourney, and then like, you know, and then like we'll announce it. But for right now, I think I should end the stream, and yeah, go spend bestie time with my wife, my legally proposed to. She is my wife. Very much so. Right, Zoe? Okay, bye guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for like Marvel Rivals. That we're gonna play a freakish amount of. But yeah, bye guys. Bye. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.